What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4MF. Chapter 65. The Iron Fist blasted out, and the hero Garp blocked it. Advertise here. On Marineford Square, Luo N still moved slowly towards the execution platform. With each step he took out, the Marine soldiers in front would retreat. Even some Marine Vice Admiral dare not move forward. They had seen it with their own eyes just now. Luo N in the bay killed the giant Vice Admiral Ronso with a single shot. With such a powerful Luo N, with the strength of their Vice Admiral, they can't stop it at all. Countless Marine soldiers saw such a scene, but they were afraid to avoid it, and they didn't even dare to raise their heads and look at Luo N. Ta. The execution platform was only 100 meters away. The Zoro trio looked at Luo N, who had already attacked the square, and tears were already in their eyes. Master! They shouted loudly. In order to rescue them, Luo N did not hesitate to go to Marineford alone, and he had already beheaded Marine Vice Admiral and a Shichibukai one after another. Now that Marine and Shichibukai have been killed. Obviously, irreconcilable contradictions have completely settled between Luo N and Marine and even the world government. Master did not hesitate to go to war with Marine in order to save us. It's all because we are too weak, otherwise it won't hurt Master to this point at all. Master, he likes the easy life the most. The three Zoro were extremely guilty and moved. You must know that Luo N was originally a leisurely bounty hunter in East Blue, but now because of the three of them, he has become the enemy of Marine and even the world government. This master's kindness has been fully remembered in their hearts. On the square, seeing Luo N walk firmly towards the execution platform, his target was only the three Zoro on the execution platform. Even the Vice Admiral around them were just watching, and they didn't dare to approach Luo N at all. Finally, the three Admiral with the highest combat power in the naval headquarters, they all looked at Luo N at the same time. Since Vice Admiral and even the Marines below the level dare not make a move, the only thing that can be counted on now is their three Admiral. But I saw Kizaru jokingly saying, Yori, ooh. I am a defeated man of Luo N. This guy is terrible. Fight him again, I will definitely not be his opponent. Kizaru didn't seem to want to shoot for the time being. La, Luo N, the strongest bounty hunter. Aokiji stepped forward and looked at Luo N. Since your apprentices were caught by my own hands, then let me deal with you. Quote. See Admiral Aokiji stand up. Zhang Marine suddenly became excited. Mr. Kuzan is ready to shoot. Look, it's Aokiji Admiral. Finally I have a chance to stop Luo N. The eyes of these Marines were full of joy. Admiral represents the highest combat power of naval headquarters, and it is also a faith-like existence in the minds of countless Marines. Need time. A chill instantly filled the air. Everyone around them retreated subconsciously and left Aokiji's realm so as not to be affected by the air conditioning. Aokiji Kuzan, you caught my apprentice. With their strength, it's really not your opponent. Luo N looked at Aokiji, who was a little lazy and couldn't help but say. Aokiji said lazily, la, this is an order from a superior, and I can only obey it. The strongest bounty hunter ever. Mr. Luo N, your name has long been on the sea. I wanted to see you a long time ago. Luo N raised his mouth with a playful smile, and then hooked his hand at Aokiji, full of provocation. Ice cube storms Pheasant's mouth. Wei Am I suddenly attacked with Aokiji's eyes. I saw a huge ice bird flying out of his right arm. The ice bird spread out its wings to be more than 10 meters long. In this way, 463 swept a cold air and attacked Luo N. The ice bird flew past, and under the coldness of ultimate, the people around could not help but give a chill. And Luo N has already crossed Ryujin Jaka in front of him. Surroundings, everything is ashes. Ryujin Jaka. The voice fell, but looking at the blade of Ryujin Jaka, a raging flame rose instantly. Immediately, Luo N held a purple knife handle and swung out abruptly at the oncoming ice bird. Boom! A burst of flame broke out. The ice bird in the air was instantly evaporated, and then turned into water vapor and disappeared directly into the invisible. What is this ability? The knife in Luo N's hand can release flames. Is it a weapon with devil fruit's ability? People around were suddenly shocked. Only Kizaru had seen Luo N's approach a long time ago and couldn't help but ridicule. It's really scary. Akainu on the side proudly said, it's just flames. What's so scary? At this time, Aokiji couldn't help frowning. Because he is a Logia frozen fruit capable person, his abilities are basically ice attribute attacks. At this time, seeing Luo N directly display the ability of fire attributes, the most important thing is to kill the ice bird he released with a single blow. Enough to be visible, his ice attribute ability does not seem to be very effective for Luo N. La, fire attribute attack. I really hate it. But, how about trying this trick? The words are over. Aokiji narrowed his eyes again, and put his hands in front of him. Ice dragon. I only saw an ice blue light curtain appearing in front of him, and an ice dragon suddenly appeared in this light curtain. Then he slammed directly towards Luo N. Roar. This ice dragon is more than 30 meters long, and it sounds like a dragon's mouth from its mouth like a living creature. Seeing this, everyone around was shocked. It turned out to be Mr. Kuzan's ice dragon. This trick is Mr. Kuzan's killer bronze. It seems that Mr. Kuzan is already very serious. Let's see how Luo En faced such a trick. Everyone frowned and looked at Luo En. Seeing the ice dragon attack, Luo En's expression suddenly changed slightly, and he held Ryujin Jaka in his hand and ran across him again. Torch. A tornado-shaped inflammation wall was suddenly released, and this tornado-shaped inflammation wall was tens of meters in size. Need time. The ice dragon slammed into the Yanbi. Roar. But after hearing a mournful cry, the body of the ice dragon melted instantly and was completely evaporated. Ah la la. The strongest bounty hunter Luo En. As expected, even Pelusolino was defeated by you. Aokiji has displayed his strongest moves, but it still seems to be ineffective against Luo En. However, he saw him exhale a breath of cold air into his palm, and the cold air turned into an ice blade in his hand. Ice Cube 2 Thorn Spears. He first shot 2 ice spears, and then directly leapt towards Luo En with the ice blade in his hand. Admiral is Marine. Aokiji not only uses fruit abilities, but his swordsmanship and physical skills are equally good. But, although his swordsmanship is really good compared to ordinary people. But at this time, he was in front of Luo En, and Aokiji's swordsmanship was not enough. Seeing Aokiji attack, Luo En did not retreat but moved forward without panic. Both his observation Haki and Rinnegan clearly captured Aokiji's crit. Immediately swept out. Call. The flame shoots in. Almost in an instant AJCG, he swallowed these 2 ice spears, but Qingwei also held an ice blade, already stabbing towards Luo En. Pin. Luo En directly blocked the blow, and then suddenly shocked with one hand. But I heard a bang. Aokiji's body instantly flew upside down a distance of tens of meters, and a trace of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. The people present were suddenly shocked. As the naval headquarters, highest combat force, Admiral was already injured when facing Luo En. They all looked at the scene in front of them with trepidation. What is it? Admiral was injured. How did Mr. Kuzan fight against Luo En just now? He was defeated like this. So strong. Mr. Kuzan shouldn't have a close fight with Luo En. This is the strongest bounty hunter. Puff. Aokiji ran and got up. Although it was only slightly injured, the gray-headed face was a bit ugly. So he is preparing to continue to shoot. Admiral Akainu has already stood in front of Aokiji and said in a deep voice. Enough. Kuzan. Luo En is a fire attack, you are not his opponent. Leave it to me. He is Logia's strongest attack power lava fruit capable person, so he has sufficient confidence in his own strength. Seeing that Aokiji had already lost the battle, he immediately stepped forward and opened his posture. Marine suddenly turned pale in shock. Aokiji Admiral has been defeated due to injury. Is Akainu Admiral ready to take action? 2 Marine Admiral shots in a row, just to deal with a bounty hunter. Is Luo En's strength already so strong? They all looked at Luo En and Akainu incredulously. At this time, Akainu Admiral also stopped directly in front of Luo En, his expression was also extremely serious. The defeat of Admiral Aokiji has already made Marine's face lost. In order to maintain the image of Marine, Akainu had to stand up and try to stop Luo En from advancing. On the ice in the bay, countless pirates are looking at Luo En and Akainu, all mockingly. Shichibukai and Marine's Admiral take turns in battle. No one can stop Luo En from advancing. Admiral Aokiji has already been defeated, so should I switch to Akainu? The 2 Marine Admiral fought Luo En one after another. Was this a wheel fight against him? These pirates couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise. Luo En first spent 2 days and 2 nights, and traveled thousands of miles from East Blue to Marineford. Then killed the giant Vice Admiral Ronsa first in the bay, then defeated Hawkeye Mihawk, and finally beheaded Gecko Moria of Shichibukai. Finally arrived at the square, and met Marine Admiral's obstruction, and Admiral Aokiji has been defeated. Now Admiral Akainu is going to shoot. Luo En's stamina should be running out a long time ago, right? It is true. Luo En used Susanoo to fly from East Blue all the way to Marineford, which originally consumed a lot of energy. After coming to Marineford, he displayed Tengai Shinsei, which consumed Luo En some energy. After several rounds of wars just now. In fact, Luo En has not much stamina left. If you look closely, you can see that Luo En also has tiny drops of sweat dripping on his forehead. This is a manifestation of Luo En's excessive physical exertion. In order to be able to get to Marineford in time on the day of execution, Luo En maintained Susanoo's flight status for 2 days and 2 nights. It can be said that it consumes a lot of his physical strength. On the square, Luo En is only tens of meters away from the execution platform. The 3 Zoro watched Luo En from the bay all the way to the square, and experienced the obstacles of Vice Admiral, Shichibukai, and Admiral successively. If you change to an ordinary person, I'm afraid I would have died here long ago. Master is to rescue us. I rushed to Marineford from East Blue alone, and faced Marine and Shichibukai alone. We are the one who was tired of Master. The 3 Zoro clenched their teeth tightly, their hearts were already extremely excited, and there were even tears in their eyes. The 3 big men including Zoro were already shocked in their hearts at this time. At this time, Admiral Akainu has stopped in front of Luo En, with a sharp smile on his face. Luo En. Being able to break into the square from the bay alone, your strength is indeed as powerful as the legend. But now your physical strength is almost exhausted, right? Luo En was unmoved and even joked with a smile in his eyes. It's enough to deal with you. The provocative meaning in these words is very obvious. Court death. Akainu shouted coldly. His right arm turned into lava and rose high, and extremely hot magma slowly dripped to the ground. Adjacent. The magma dripped to the ground and gave out a puff of white gas. Dark Hound. The voice fell. Akainu blasted towards Luo En with one punch. In the original work, Akainu used this Dark Hound to knock out half of Whitebeard's head, which is enough to show that this Dark Hound possesses extremely powerful destructive power. But at this time, Akainu faced Luo En. Luo En's expression changed slightly when he stood there, watching Akainu blast Dark Hound towards him. Ryujin Jaka in his hand blocked instantly. Boom. Akainu's right fist was instantly blocked by Luo En. One made a fist and the other held a knife, and the two of them stayed in a stalemate like this. Zizi. There was a squeaking sound from where the punches and knives met, and the two had already exerted great strength. Akainu's expression is extremely serious and solemnly said. Young people, this Marineford war is not for you. Let's leave obediently. What? Suddenly shouted. Akainu's fist slammed into force, and Luo En also shook with one hand unwillingly. Boom. Only a loud noise was heard. Luo En stood still standing still, but Akainu took a half step back before standing still. What a strong power. Even Garp couldn't help but admire. Sakazuki's melee combat power is definitely the strongest among the three admiral. But even Akainu also lost to Luo En in the power competition. Sengoku's forehead was already sweating coldly, and those torch-like eyes were staring at Luo En. The strength of Luo En is too terrifying. Sengoku absolutely didn't expect Luo En to be able to rush from the bay to the square by himself. Moreover, he defeated several strong players one after another. At this time, Akainu has stood firm. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Luo En. Boy, it seems that you have some abilities. You can achieve such strength at a young age, but you are willing to stay in a place like East Blue. Even Akainu couldn't help but admire. In the Gang-O strength competition, he unexpectedly lost to Luo En. Paused. Akainu continued. Young people, only strength is better than me. But you can't beat me. While talking, Akainu raised his right arm again, only to see him lavaging his arm, and the arm was directly transformed into the shape of a dog's head. The dog bites the red lotus. The dog's head turned into lava suddenly rushed towards Luo En, and even the lava dog's head opened its big mouth to bite. It's really troublesome. Luo En frowned and raised the knife flagrantly. Boom. The dog's head opened his mouth and bit on the blade of Ryujin Jaka. The raging flames had risen, but it had no effect on the dog's head. But this dog's head can't invade either. Humph. Luo En seemed to have expected this situation a long time ago. The next moment, his left hand had already clenched a fist and slammed out. Boom. Luo En's fist hit Akainu's face severely. Boom. However, Akainu's body flew upside down, and then hit the ground heavily. What? Oh my god. An admiral was beaten by Luo En again. And it's Akainu Sakazuki Admiral, known as Marine's strongest attack power. Everyone around them stared at Akainu who was beaten up, their eyes were already full of horror. Although Akainu is indeed very strong in close combat, his body lacks agility and mobility. That's why Luo En found the opportunity and hit his face with a punch. Puff. Even Akainu. At this time, he even spit out a mouthful of blood. Luo En's punch that covered armament hockey also caused Akainu to suffer some damage. Good boy. He got up again with a violent shout, and directly wiped the blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Received this punch from Luo En. It's just a slight injury, it's nothing at all. You are so difficult. Luo En couldn't help but frowned and said. This Akainu really resisted the beating. He was clearly hit by Luo En, and he got up like an okay person. And it seems that he wants to continue fighting with himself. At this time, Luo En couldn't help but raised his head and glanced at Zoro Renren on the execution platform. The goal of his trip was to rescue Zoro and the others. These 2 days and 2 nights kept Susanoo's flight, plus the battle with other strong men just now. Luo En has already consumed a lot of physical strength. If he continues to fight with everyone, I am afraid it will be detrimental to him. At this time, Akainu also came to Luo En again and blocked Luo En's way to the execution stand. Sakazuki's smile can be described as an incomparable cleansing treatment. Ha 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 ha. Luo En, the strongest bounty hunter. No wonder the world government treats you as an enemy too. For an unconstrained strong like you, even the world government feels jealous. As Akainu had already suffered a punch from Luo En on his face just now, his right cheek had turned blue at this time, and blood could not help but flow out of his nose. He looked a bit uncontrollable, but he was actually not seriously injured. But Luo En was already a little impatient. Sakazuki. You are really troublesome, but your attack and defense are strong. But your speed and maneuverability are a bit worse. The voice fell. Luo En directly looked up at the Zoro 3 on the execution platform, and then tapped one foot again, and his figure had already jumped towards the execution platform. There is absolutely no need for him to continue pestering Akainu, it will only waste time. What? Luo En, you bastard, even without fighting. Akainu suddenly yelled. Stepping on Moonwalk under his feet, he rushed towards Luo En, and his right hand used the Dark Hound move again. Dark Hound is Akainu's strongest single attack skill, even Luo En dare not use his body to hold the blow hard. Trouble, Luo En said coldly. In his hand, Ryujin Jaka stabs directly at Akainu. Dark Hound. Akainu still blasted towards Luo En with a punch. The fist collided with the tip of the knife. Boom. There was another explosion, and Akainu's body fell downward. With the help of Akainu's attack, Luo En actually jumped up, and his goal was directed at the execution stand. Everyone present was shocked. What? Luo En went directly to the execution stand. This guy. Everyone looked at Luo En. Even the fastest Kizaru was still standing there, with no intention to stop Luo En at all. Aokiji also stood there and looked up at Luo En. The Whitebeard pirates are still watching the actions of the Marines. Therefore, as Admiral, they naturally have to retain their strength in order to deal with the Whitebeard pirates. If all Admiral attack Luo En together, then the Whitebeard pirates will take the opportunity to attack. I am afraid that no one can stop the Whitebeard pirates, and even Portgas d'Ace, the son of One Piece, will be rescued. At that time, the gain will outweigh the loss. Marine naturally pays more attention to the execution of Ace, the son of One Piece. Relatively speaking, the importance of Zoro is less. At this time, Luo En had jumped into the air and headed towards the execution platform. And two Marines standing on the execution platform. One is Marine's hero Garp, and the other is Marine's Marshal Sengoku. Seeing Luo En dive in from midair, Garp suddenly frowned slightly and suddenly jumped up and raised his fist. Luo En, you stinky boy. Although I admire your style very much, but the old man is also Marine. You must never be allowed to be presumptuous in Marineford. Garp is in the air. He raised his right fist and slammed it towards Luo En suddenly. See Luo En. The same raised his right hand and blasted towards Garp again. Boom. Suddenly, Luo En and Garp fisted together, and an incomparably vast air current shook out instantly. Even the thunder in the sky flashed momentarily as if a vision had happened. Boom. The two fists have separated. Luo En fell towards the ground on the square again, and Garp still landed on the ground. This punch. Evenly matched. It's Marine hero Garp. It's the iron fist of the hero Garp Vice Admiral. It was Mr. Garp who made the shot and stopped Luo En from the front. Countless Marine soldiers began to cheer. The pirates present were also stunned. Luo En was actually blocked by someone. That old man is Garp, the Marine hero Garp. He is the faith-like figure in all Marines' minds. Even Whitebeard couldn't help but frown. Goo la 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 la. This old fellow Garp. Only he can stop Luo En directly. Those Admiral did not attack Luo En together, it seems that they knew that Garp was guarding the execution stage. The young man Luo En chose to enter Marineford alone. It seems that he is still a little too reluctant. Seeing that the Marine hero Garp has already shot. Even Whitebeard couldn't help but change slightly. At this time on the square, Luo En and Garp can't help but joked. Sure enough, it seems that it is not so easy to get on the execution stand. Marine hero, Garp. Chapter 66 Punch Garp, Sengoku Sword. Successful rescue. Advertise here. On the square. When I saw Garp take a shot, the whole audience was boiling. Garp Vice Admiral. It's Garp Vice Admiral. Moreover, Luo En was blocked from the front. Even Admiral did not stop Luo En from the front. As expected of Marine's hero. Ah, hero. It's the belief in the minds of countless Marines. There have been many Marine Admiral and Marshals, while Marine heroes are only P. As a man standing on top of Marine. As the only hero of Marine. Garp is not only the belief in the hearts of countless Marines, he is also the existence of the ceiling of combat power. Luo En was stopped with just one punch. Although the punches from both sides were evenly matched, at least Garp was able to block Luo En's attack from the front. Before you know, the giant Vice Admiral Ronsa was killed in seconds by Luo En. Hawkeye Mihawk was cut off the top hat and left the battlefield. Gecko Moria was beheaded by Luo En. Kizaru Admiral was defeated by Luo En 2 days ago. Aokiji Admiral's ice attribute attack was completely ineffective against Luo En, and he was even injured by Luo En and vomited blood. Akainu Admiral was also beaten by Luo En, and a blue-purple scar was swollen on his face. These people, none of them stopped Luo En's attack head-on. Only the Marine hero Garp blocked Luo En from boarding the execution stage with a punch, and he was the only one who blocked Luo En's attack from the front. And it was the only Marine who blocked Luo En from the front. Marine hero Garp. At this time, seeing Luo En blocking Luo En's attack, even Marshal Sengoku finally let out a sigh of relief. Garp. This old guy. The critical moment is pretty reliable. Ms. Crane, Marine's chief staff officer under the execution stage, also murmured. No matter how you say it. Gar is also a member of Marine after all. It will definitely be shot at this time. The three Admiral also watched Luo En and Garp. Today, except for Kizaru, both Akainu and Aokiji fought Luo En, but neither of them could stop Luo En from the front. Aokiji couldn't help but said lazily. Ah la la. Mr. Garp's punch actually stopped Luo-en from the front. As expected of Marine's only hero, Kizaru spread his hands and retorted indifferently. It should be said that Luo-en, this guy, he was able to fight Mr. Garp with a punch, and he didn't lose the wind. Sure enough, it's terrible. Only Akainu reminded the other two with a gloomy face. Since Mr. Garp has already taken action, we don't need to take care of this matter for the time being. We still have to beware of the Whitebeard pirates, in case they take advantage of the chaos to attack and rescue the evil blood of Ace. The original plan can no longer be implemented normally. The appearance of Luo-en really affected our marine plan greatly. The voice fell. Both Admiral, Kizaru and Aokiji, subconsciously looked into the bay and towards Whitebeard aboard the mobile. At this time, Whitebeard did not order the pirates to launch an attack, and has been observing the situation on the entire battlefield. However, Marine was always on his guard, so he didn't have a brain to attack Luo-en. Just imagine, if all the powerful Marines attack Luo-en, this time the Whitebeard pirates will attack. So who can stop the captains of the Whitebeard pirates? Even Whitebeard, who is known as the strongest man in the world. It is for this reason. Marine did not let all the combat power to deal with Luo-en, but always guarded against the actions of the Whitebeard pirates. After all, Marine is now facing two enemies of different forces. The remaining 3-7 warlords of the sea are also watching the situation on the field. Bartholomew the Bear looked at Luo-en blankly. The Empress Boa Hancock was still looking at it. Luo-en, a man who dared to resist the Celestial Dragon's government, even his little heart was still throbbing and throbbing. Only Doflamingo smiled and said, Howl, it's really interesting. Marine has to stop Luo-en, but also to guard against the attacks of the Whitebeard pirates. It's really a headache. Ice surface in the bay. Whitebeard stood on top of the Moby Dick and looked at Garp and Sengoku with interest. The pirates have temporarily stopped their attack under Whitebeard's order. But as for when to attack Marine again, it can only be ordered based on the situation on the field. Marco beside him said, Father, from the current scene, Luo-en shared some pressure for us. Originally, all the Marines in Marineford were used to deal with us. Since Marine also decided to go to war with Luo-en, even Shichibukai and even Admiral have gone to deal with Luo-en. Our pressure is also much less. The voice fell. Whitebeard retorted, although Luo-en did share a lot of pressure for us, we also shared a lot of pressure for him. It is precisely because of our deterrence that Marine dare not besee Luo-en. Marine's 3 Admiral and those old guys shot at the same time, even Luo-en will definitely not be able to withstand their siege. Heard these words, Marco suddenly realized it. It is true. Although Luo-en shared the pressure for the Whitebeard pirates. But in fact, the Whitebeard pirates also shared a lot of pressure for Luo-en. So the most uncomfortable is Marine. Marine had to publicly execute Ace and Luo-en's apprentices at the same time, so it attracted the Whitebeard pirates and Luo-en. They now need to face both forces at the same time. It can be said that Marine's plan has been completely disrupted by the sudden appearance of Luo-en. After all, no one thought of it. In just 2 days, Luo-en even flew from East Blue, thousands of miles away, to Marineford. His appearance completely disrupted Marine's plan to fight the Whitebeard pirates. On the square, Luo-en and Garp were standing opposite each other, the sea breeze was blowing on them, and the skirts of their clothes began to flutter indiscriminately. Within 100 meters of them, no one approached, and they all stayed away and watched the two of them. Even the 3 Admiral from Marine have stood far away, leaving this place to Luo-en and Garp. Garp, although there is no devil fruit, with his pair of iron fists, countless pirates are frightened. He has driven the One Piece King Gore D. Roger into desperation several times, and also crushed the plan of the strongest rocks pirate to dominate the world. There is no doubt that Garp represents Marine's top combat power and is also the belief in the hearts of countless Marines. Luo-en, although he is an East Blue bounty hunter, he has gradually become famous at sea since he defeated Mihawk Hawkeye. He defeated Hawkeye Mihawk, then beheaded the legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki, and ran away Marine Admiral Kizaru 2 days ago. Even today, the methods used by Luo-en at Marineford have made everyone present to imprint Luo-en's figure firmly in their hearts. Nearly half the size of Marineford's Tengai Shinsei meteorite, slayed the giant Vice Admiral Lons with a single blow, defeated Hawkeye Mihawk again, and slew Shichibukai's Gecko Moria with a single blow. Then he injured Aokiji Akainu and 2 Admiral. And just now, Luo-en punched the Marine hero Garp again, and he didn't even fall in the slightest. There is no doubt that Garp and Luo-en, both of them, are the top existences in this world's pyramid. And now, the existence of the top of these 2 pyramids just met. Luo-en and Garp are the 2. They stood opposite each other, and the atmosphere gradually became tense. Finally, it was Garp who spoke first. But I saw him give Luo-en a thoughtful look. Then he said with some appreciation, Luo-en, you kid. I wanted to go back to East Blue to see you before, but I didn't expect you to come to Marineford today. You have such strength at a young age. Even Hawkeye and even Admiral are not your opponents. No wonder you dare to break into Marineford alone. Sure enough, it's awesome. Garp didn't have any hostility towards Luo-en in his eyes, and his tone was full of admiration and appreciation. Although Luo En was a little confused but didn't care too much, Ryujin Jaka in his hand pointed forward and then said coldly. Marine hero. Garp. So you want to stop me? I only saw Garp say helplessly. My old man is Marine. Since Marine has officially declared war with you, of course I can't just ignore it. No wonder you don't want to join Marine. In contrast, you are more free than the old man. There is still no hostility in his tone. Even Luo En can't help feeling a little strange. When Luo En is thinking, Garp suddenly said loudly again. Wow, ha 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 ha. Come on, Luo En. Let me see the strength of East Blue's strongest bounty hunter. The voice fell. Garp immediately used the shave of Marine 6 styles, and he had come to Luo En in an instant, and raised his iron fist and slammed it towards Luo En. What a fast speed. But Luo En also reacted and immediately raised Ryujin Jaka to block. Kang directly blocked the bombardment of Iron Fist. However, this is not over yet. Although Garp's right hand was blocked by Luo En with a knife, his left hand clenched his fist and blasted out again. Luo En also raised his left hand and blasted again. Boom. Although only 2 fists were facing each other, a huge air current suddenly spread out. The Marines in the distance were horrified, and they even tried to block the impact of this airflow with their hands in front of them. It's horrible. It's horrible. Don't dare to stand within the attack range of the two. I can't even get close to the battle between the two. Do you think Garp Vice Admiral can defeat Luo En? You know that even Admiral can't stop Luo En. Garp Vice Admiral is a hero, he must be able to defeat Luo En. In the minds of almost most Marines, the hero Garp is their belief and the strongest person in Marine. Therefore, they firmly believe in their hearts that Garp will be able to defeat Luo En. Chang chang. Boom. With a few loud noises, it once again attracted the attention of all the people present. With every cut of Luo En, Garp was able to directly block it with his armed fists, and he was also able to launch a counterattack against Luo En. However, Garp's attack could also be blocked by Luo En, and he even punched him from time to time. Garp's extremely powerful body is a weapon. Under armament hockey, which is also the pinnacle of ultimate, even Luo En can't break the defense for the time being. Marine hero. Sure enough, it is well deserved. And this time, Garp's voice came again. Ha 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 ha. Good boy, good boy. The old man hasn't fought so heartily for a long time. Come again. Garp slammed a punch suddenly. Luo En held Ryujin Jaka to block, and his left fist also blasted towards Garp again. Garp didn't dare to show weakness again and threw his iron fist again. Boom. This is not the first time that such a direct confrontation method has appeared. This feeling of punching to the flesh made Garp's expression start to become excited and excited. It's been many years. I haven't had this feeling of meeting an opponent for many years. Okay. That's great. Sure enough, it's awesome. The old man actually beat a young man in his early 20s to this point. Careful. It's really fun. There was still no hostility in Garp's tone. He seemed to be just to see Luo En's strength, and it seemed that he just wanted to compete with him. Boom boom boom. Clang. After dozens of rounds of close combat. What? With Garp yelled. The two separated directly and backed away dozens of steps away. Hoo. What a kid. It deserves to be called the strongest bounty hunter. So far you are also the only man who has moved around the world as a bounty hunter. No wonder the strength is so strong. Garp gasped. But his eyes were full of excitement. Sweat also appeared on Luo En's face. Obviously, after so many battles, his stamina was also consumed a lot. Garp. As expected of marine heroes. Tekken Garp lives up to its reputation. Luo En couldn't help but praise. Only relying on fists or swordsmanship can only be evenly matched, and for the time being, no one can win the other side. After all, Garp's strength is the existence of marine ceiling. Even Luo En couldn't help him for a while. The most important thing is that now the time for execution is getting closer and closer. Luo En has no intention of focusing on the battle with Garp. He looked up at the Zoro 3 on the execution stage, clenched his teeth and looked slightly wrinkled. The purpose of his trip was only to save his apprentices. Master. The 3 Zoro shouted. They also witnessed Luo En being stopped by Garp, unable to resolve the battle quickly for a while. In addition, it consumes more in these 2 days. Luo En really doesn't have much energy to make a difference with Garp. Even at this time, still thinking about saving the apprentice. You can teach this kind of apprentice at a young age, no wonder even the apprentices are so messy. Your achievements in the future must be limited. At this moment, Garp gave Luo En a meaningful look, and there was an extremely complicated look in his eyes. Then he said loudly again. Bring it on, Luo En. If you want to rescue your apprentice, defeat the old man first. He immediately jumped up, clenched his fist, and blasted towards Luo En. Luo En's eyes narrowed slightly, and he immediately raised Ryujin Jaka to block again. Kang. The blade was stopped directly on Garp's fist, and then Luo En subconsciously slammed his left fist. However, at this time, a stunned scene for everyone happened. Seeing Luo En's fist hit, Garp seemed to intentionally not raise another fist, but instead let Luo En hit his face with a punch. Boom. However, Garp's body flew upside down in an instant, and then he smashed the wall out of a deep pit. Need time. The whole audience was stunned. Garp Vice Admiral. Mr. Garp. My god, Mr. Garp was shot flying. Asshole. Is that Luo-en so strong? The three Shichibukai frowned. Howl, 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 even the marine hero was beaten to fly. Doflamingo sneered, what kind of monster is Luo-en? The three admiral from Marine also looked slightly changed at the same time. Because they were keenly aware that the punch of Luo-en just now was caused by Garp deliberately not resisting it. What is this? Why did Mr. Garp deliberately release the water? It's not just three. Admiral saw the trickiness of this trick. Even Luo-en couldn't help but feel very strange. Why did Garp deliberately be beaten by him? 0. Look for flowers. Sigh in my heart. Can't help but say thank you. Then he slumped his feet and jumped towards the execution platform again. Asshole. That old guy Garp is really bad acting. He was deliberately beaten by Luo-en. What does this mean? Sengoku thought to himself. He also saw that Garp deliberately released the water, otherwise the battle would not end so soon. And now Garp is still in the pit and doesn't mean to get up. In fact, it should be fine even if he gets a punch with Garp's body. Obviously the water was deliberately released. Was it because Garp didn't like celestial dragons, so he asked Luo-en to rescue his apprentices? Or what future did he see in Luo-en? Although Sengoku had many guesses and surprises in his mind, he didn't have time to think about it at this time. Because Luo-en has jumped into the air. Bounty hunter Luo-en. He only heard Sengoku scream, but he saw his body swell rapidly and his body was full of golden light. Young people, I didn't expect you to be able to break into the execution stand alone. I am the Marshal of Marine. But there is one last level here. With the voice falling, Sengoku's body has turned into a huge golden Buddha statue. He is the fruit of everyone, the fruit of the phantom beast big Buddha form, and possesses Buddha-like power and wisdom. Seeing Luo-en rushing towards the execution platform, Sengoku glanced at Garp's direction first, then sighed heavily in his heart. Garp, shouldn't it be Marine's responsibility to maintain celestial dragons? Am I really doing something wrong? Sengoku at this time. When he saw that even Garp was deliberately beaten into the air, as if deliberately allowing Luo-en to board the execution platform to rescue the three Zoro. Sengoku couldn't help but start to doubt his justice. The Zoro trio were targeted by the world government only because they killed celestial dragons, and they were publicly executed. Previously, Luo-en also called Sengoku a dog raised by the world government in front of countless people. At this time, even the Marshal Sengoku was stunned, and doubted his justice in his heart. Luo-en in midair. I also saw the hesitation in Sengoku's eyes. Sure enough, as Marine, there are so many involuntary things. Sengoku. Luo-en shouted loudly. He held Ryujin Jaka in his hand and slashed directly. At this time, the Sengoku in the form of the Great Buddha also blasted toward the sky with a palm, and there was no shock wave attached to this palm. To know, in the original work, a shock wave in the shape of the Sengoku Buddha even shook the Blackbeard group directly into the air. And now facing Luo-en, Sengoku seemed to hesitate in his heart, he had doubts about the justice of his guardian celestial dragons. Fire resistance. Luo-en holds Ryujin Jaka. I performed the fire-resisting move again, but saw a burst of flame suddenly released from the blade. The explosion suddenly blasted the Sengoku in the form of a big Buddha directly into the air. Boom. Sengoku's figure also flew upside down, and hit the ground of the square severely. Garp got up and looked at Sengoku. At this time, the eyes of both of them were filled with incomparable embarrassment. It's like saying, why did you release the water? It is true. Sengoku had already doubted the justice of his guardian celestial dragons, so the trick just now didn't show his full strength. On the square, countless Marines in the audience were shocked. Marshal Sengoku was also beaten up. Garp Vice Admiral and Marshal Sengoku were both beaten by Luo-en. What happened? The two of them are the backbone of Marine. How could it be possible that both of them were defeated so quickly? The Shichibukai also showed their doubts. Doflamingo said coldly. Hero Marine and Marshal Marine were both beaten by Luo-en. The acting skills are really bad. Buddha shao 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 shao. He would not believe it anyway. Garp and Sengoku, the two powerhouses of the old age, will lose consecutively in the hands of Luo-en. The three Marine Admiral couldn't help but have a black line, and they all saw that Garp and Sengoku deliberately released the water. Especially Garp. I had to fight with Luo-en for dozens of rounds before being beaten by a punch. And Sengoku's acting skills are worse. He was directly stunned by the Luo-en knife, and then he fell to the ground like this, and hasn't gotten up for a long time. Aokiji can't help being lazy and authentic. Ah la la. Today's battle is really interesting. Mr. Garp, Mr. Sengoku. Kizaru deliberately joked. That guy Luo-en, it's really scary. Even the two veteran-level figures of Marine were beaten off by him one after another. Only Akainu had a gloomy face. But he didn't say much at this time, but reminded. You two. Attention Whitebeard pirates. Don't let them rescue Ace. Akainu only said to prevent the Whitebeard pirates from saving Ace, but did not say to prevent Luo-en from saving the Zoro trio. Enough to be visible, all three Admiral understood the thoughts of Garp and Sengoku. Originally, Admiral didn't like celestial dragons very much, but now they saw Garp and Sengoku take the lead in acting. Then they also cooperate together. As long as Ace, the son of One Piece who inherited the evil blood, is not rescued, it is not a big loss for Marine. After all, this war at Marineford today. The original protagonists should be Marine and Whitebeard pirates. On ice. Even the pirates in the distance were frightened. That guy Luo N. That guy hit Martial Marine Sengoku directly again. How terrifying is he? Obviously, he has defeated so many strong men one after another. Does Luo N still have physical strength? Only above the Moby Dick. Whitebeard looked at Sengoku and Garp with faint eyes. Goo la 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 la. The two old guys still have such thoughts, and let Luo N go to the execution stand. It seems their real goal is us. Marco on the side couldn't help frowning. He also saw that Garp and Sengoku were obviously acting. It's unbelievable that the strong of the old days will be easily overwhelmed by Luo N. On the execution stage, Luo N saw that Sengoku, Garp, and even the three admiral did not make another move. He also knew that these Marines seemed to be acting, and he couldn't help sighing heavily in his heart. Master. When the Zoro 3 saw that Luo N had come to the execution platform, they couldn't help shouting, and their hearts were already shaken. Chang Chang. Ryujin Jaka passed directly, and the shackles of the Zoro 3 had been split by Luo N. Master. The three of Zoro shouted, their eyes were full of incomparable touch, and even Johnny and Joseph were already crying. Master. It's all bad for us. We made you tired. Master. I didn't expect to meet again in this way. Luo N immediately raised his hand and said in a deep voice. Okay. What kind of man is crying and crying? Not to mention the battle is not over yet. The Zoro trio immediately wiped away their tears. Then stood on the execution platform with Luo N, overlooking the tens of thousands of people below the stage. It is true. The battle is not over yet. Chapter 67 Bet on the dignity of Marine. The top is over. Advertise here. Sabayati Archipelago. Those who watched the live broadcast of the video are already showing shocking colors at this time. It's Luo N. The strongest bounty hunter Luo N rescued Zoro and the others. Wow, that's great. Celestial dragons are really damn good. The Zoro trio just did something we didn't dare to do. I support Zoro and the three of them, and I support their master Luo N even more. Shish, keep your voice down, don't let celestial dragons hear it. Some in the crowd even showed a look of joy. The residents of Sabayati Archipelago know it. The three Zoro were publicly executed by Marine because they killed the celestial dragons. At this time, seeing that the three of Zoro were rescued by Luo N, even some people in the crowd felt extremely happy. On a huge rock, Pluton Rayleigh was lying leisurely looking at the live video, and taking a sip of wine from time to time. Guru, Luo N this kid, even the two old guys Garp and Sengoku were deliberately beaten off by him. What kind of future do they see in Luo N? Will the protagonist of the next era be the bounty hunter Luo N? Could it be that it is no longer the era of pirates? Rayleigh shook his head and took a sip of wine again, his expression filled with incomparably complicated expressions. Garp and Sengoku deliberately asked Luo N to save Zoro who killed the celestial dragons. What this means is probably obvious. Isn't Marine unwilling to act as a puppet of the world government? Marineford. Countless people looked up at the execution stage, Luo N and his three apprentices. Luo N rescued his apprentices. This guy Luo N is alone in Marineford, and he has also defeated many strong players. So he should have consumed a lot of physical energy long ago. It's incredible. Not only the three Admiral of Marine, but even the hero Garp and the Buddha Sengoku were beaten by him. This young man is already so strong. They looked at Luo N incredulously. Luo N broke into Marineford Plaza from the bay alone, and successfully flew two veteran-level powerhouses, Garp and Sengoku. Finally boarded the execution platform and rescued the Zoro trio. Countless pirates said in shock. Even Garp and Sengoku have been beaten by him. Luo N has broken into the execution stand and rescued his apprentices. It would be great if Luo N could also cut Ace's chains. Dream you, Luo N was originally a bounty hunter, he won't help the pirates. It is true. Luo N on the execution stage just glanced at Ace, and then stopped looking again. Ace is not close to him. Why should he rescue Ace? And Luo N's purpose in coming to Marineford was only to rescue the three of Zoro. At this point the purpose has been achieved. On the Moby Dick in the bay. Whitebeard looked at Luo N and said solemnly. Goo la 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 la. Although in the end, the two old guys Garp and Sengoku deliberately let him board the execution stage. But there is no doubt that Luo N is not inferior to me. As pirates, we are not qualified to let a bounty hunter help us rescue Ace. Marco beside him couldn't help but respond. Yes, Daddy. This war was originally prepared by Marine for us. How can I pin my hopes on others? 463. Ace is our relative, we should have rescued it. On the square, even the Empress Boa Hancock couldn't help but moved. Master Luo N finally rescued his apprentices, passing through the square from the bay and then rushing to the execution platform. The concubine finds such a man too attractive. Doflamingo sneered. Although there is suspicion of Garp and Sengoku acting, Luo-en really defeated several powerful players, and even Admiral couldn't stop him from moving forward. Bounty Hunter. This man is between Marine and Pirate. What did Garp and Sengoku see in Luo-en? This chaotic world is really exciting. Howl, whistle, Buddha, whistle. Bartholomew Kuma still looks cold. The three Admiral also looked up at Luo-en and Zoro on the execution stage. They finally breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that Luo-en hadn't cut Ace's chain. Aokiji said lazily, Alara, it seems a bit troublesome. Luo-en rescued the Zoro 3. Never let them leave Marineford like this. Kizaru also joked. It's terrible. Are the four bounty hunters standing on the execution stage? Fortunately, he didn't cut the chains of Ace, the son of One Piece. Only Akainu still looks serious. Luo-en is a bounty hunter. Of course he will not rescue the pirate. For Ace's execution, just beware of the Whitebeard pirates. Akainu has repeatedly reminded the other two Admiral to let them pay attention to the movements of the Whitebeard pirates. Under the execution stage, Ms. Crane, who is Marine's general staff, also frowned, and then she couldn't help shook her head and sighed. Of course she could also see that Garp and Sengoku were deliberately releasing the water, as if they were deliberately letting Luo-en go to the execution stand to rescue the three Zoro. Garp is at least acting in a good manner. He fought with Luo-en for dozens of rounds before being punched and flew by Luo-en until he still hasn't gotten up. Sengoku was directly shocked by Luo-en and flew out, and lay beside Garp. These two old partners seem to agree with each other in their choices regarding Luo-en's incident. Garp, Sengoku, even to bet the dignity of Marine on Luo-en. What kind of future do you see in Luo-en? Ms. He couldn't help sighing. But this was the decision of Garp and Sengoku, so she didn't say much. Because she knew it a long time ago. Garp has never caught a cold with celestial dragons, and Sengoku has always been ordered by the world government that he does not want to do. Even before Luo-en claimed that Sengoku is a dog raised by the world government. It seems that both Garp and Sengoku bet the dignity of Marine on the bounty hunter Luo-en. What kind of changes will shake the world due to the existence of Luo-en in the future? Ms. He looked at Luo-en on the execution stage thoughtfully. Inside two adjacent pits, Sengoku and Garp looked at each other, and finally got up together in disgrace in tacit understanding. Then he raised his head and looked at Luo-en on the execution stage. Garp immediately pointed to Luo-en and cursed. Smelly boy. You really rescued the apprentice. I'm here to catch you all. Sengoku also replied. The golden lion Shiki was impelled down by me and Garp. Today you dare to make trouble at Marineford. We must never let you go. The two veteran-level powerhouses have stood side by side at this time. The Marines around them suddenly became excited again. Garp Vice Admiral and Marshal Sengoku are standing up again. I knew that Garp Vice Admiral and Marshal Sengoku would not be defeated so easily. Although Luo-en is powerful, he is definitely not the opponent of Garp Vice Admiral and Marshal Sengoku. When seeing these two core figures of Marine release cruel words again, Zhejiang Marine soldiers all cheered up again. Seeing this, the three Admiral couldn't help but suddenly looked embarrassed with black lines. It's obviously that you two deliberately let Luo-en deliberately, and now you are shouting in public to impel him into impel down. How can these two old men have such bad acting skills? On the execution stage, Luo-en looked at each other with Garp and Sengoku, and then couldn't help but spread his hands and said in cooperation. You two old guys are so difficult to get around. I haven't fallen down yet. It's worthy of being a strong man in the old age. Garp also said solemnly. You are still too tender, brat. Sengoku. Shook together. The voice fell. But seeing Garp and Sengoku look at each other, then look at the execution platform, it seems that they will attack at any time. Upon seeing this, Luo-en couldn't help but said coldly. Zoro. Your saber is at the Marine Vice Admiral Ghost Spider. Zoro looked at the Marine Vice Admiral Ghost Spider on the square. His three famous swords, the third generation of ghosts, the third generation of ghosts, and the snow are all in the hands of ghost spiders. Then Luo-en directly shouted again. Johnny, Joseph. You two go and help Zoro get back the weapon. I'll stop them these two old men. After speaking, Luo-en threw a weapon to Johnny and Joseph. Johnny's is called Sakura 10, and Joseph's is called Deadwood. These two knives are Golden Lion Shiki's famous knives. I will give it to you today. Seeing that the master gave them a famous knife, Johnny and Joseph were overjoyed in an instant. Thank you, master. This Sakura 10 and withered wood was originally the weapon of the legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki, and at this time it has been presented to Johnny and Joseph by Luo-en. No doubt, a good knife can increase their combat power a lot. Just at this time, superior, Garp suddenly yelled. He and Sengoku jumped up suddenly, and they joined forces to attack Luo-en. Luo-en saw the attack of these two Marine Supreme men, but he did not retreat but went up to face him. Zoro also shouted, Johnny, Joseph, let's go. Don't hold back, master. Go get my saber back first. Johnny and Joseph immediately nodded and said, good. The three rushed towards the bottom of the execution platform, targeting the Marine Vice Admiral Ghost Spider. Luo-en, who was in midair, fisted with a knife in one hand, and greeted Garp and Sengoku brazenly. Seeing Garp hit with a punch, Luo-en also raised his left fist and threw it out suddenly. Sengoku has transformed into a big Buddha, but it was also shot with a palm. Luo-en held Ryujin Jaka in his right hand to block it. Boom! Luo-en confronted Garp and Sengoku, the two strongest marines. To time, the sky seemed to split, and suddenly there was thunder in the sky. Countless people present looked at the three people on the execution stage, and the shock in their hearts had already reached the point where they could not be added. My god, what is Luo-en doing? He actually singled out Garp, Vice Admiral and Marshal Sengoku. And the most important thing is that Luo-en doesn't seem to be at a disadvantage. A person singles out the two veterans of Marine. How much shock will Luo-en bring us? Boom boom. Every time Luo-en's move collides with Garp Sengoku, a violent vibration and air flow will be aroused. Garp's iron fist slammed out. Luo-en could also throw a punch to resist. Sengoku slapped it with a palm. He can still block with a Ryujin Jaka swing. These two veteran-level powerhouses joined forces to attack Luo-en, and they were all blocked by Luo-en alone. As this guy Luo-en so strong. He had rushed all the way from the bay to the square before, and he also defeated Shichibukai and even Admiral-level powerhouses on the way. I've even fought Garp for dozens of rounds, and also stunned Marine Marshal Sengoku. At this time, he was alone in the siege of Garp and Sengoku. This guy is a monster, right? Countless people on Marineford are talking about it. They really didn't expect it. Luo-en was able to reach Marineford from East Blue in just 2 days, and he broke into the square from the bay on his own. This must consume a lot of his stamina, but now he can still fight against two veteran-level powerhouses. It's incredible. At this time, looking at Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph who have fallen on the square, the three of them have already arrived in front of the Marine Vice Admiral Ghost Spider. The Ghost Spider is a stream of 8 swords. In addition to the 2-handed knives, the 6 thick hairs on top of his head each hold 6 knives, 3 of which are Zoro's weapons. Hidao Yiwen is the weapon of his childhood friend Kuina, and one of the 24 big sharp knives. The 2 knives of 3rd generation Ghost and Yuki were obtained from the owner of the weapon shop when they were in Logue Town. Since the Zoro trio were caught, Zoro's saber had been confiscated by Marine, and it appeared in the hands of the Ghost Spider at this time. Yo, you 3 criminals. I came here specifically for Laozi. The Ghost Spider has a ferocious face. Zoro stepped forward and said in a deep voice. Give me back my 3 knives. Unexpectedly, the Ghost Spider smiled sorrowfully. The quality of your 3 knives is really good. I'm not going to return it to you. The voice fell. Zoro suddenly furious. Asshole. The word Hidao is the saber of Kuina, Zoro's dead childhood friend. He once promised to take Kuina's share to become stronger together. Boss Zoro. Leave it to us. Johnny and Joseph were already standing in front of Zoro holding 2 famous swords, Sakura Ten and Withered Wood. Your master Luo-en is indeed powerful. But the 3 of you seem to be far behind. Immediately, only saw the Ghost Spider directly cast the 8-sword flow, rushing towards Johnny and Joseph. Badao Stream Spider Flurry. His figure jumped into the air and then slew towards Johnny Joseph. Johnny Joseph and the 2 looked at each other, and both had pulled out the 2 famous swords of Sakura Ten Dead Wood. Sword Stream. Flying Dragon. Dalyu. Horse Ghost. Both of them rushed towards the Ghost Spider at an extremely fast speed. What? The 2 sides passed by quickly. But seeing the blood spatter, the Ghost Spider has fallen to the ground, but still takes a breath. Step to step, Zoro came directly to the Ghost Spider, and then picked up the 3 knives that fell on the ground. Hidaoyuan, 3rd generation Ghost Toru, and Yuzu. Johnny and Joseph also came to Zoro and said in surprise. Boss Zoro, your knife is back. Master also gave us 2 famous knives. Very good. Our strength can be improved again. The 3 of them looked at each other and smiled, and they were extremely excited. The Marine soldier in the distance saw this. They suddenly couldn't help but said with astonishment. That's Luo-en's apprentices. They cut down the Vice Admiral Ghost Spider in an instant just now. Although the 2 teamed up, it is enough to prove their strength. It's too strong. I'm afraid the Vice Admiral level can't stop them. It is true. Now Zoro has got his saber back, and Johnny Joseph has also got 2 famous knives. Their overall strength has once again improved a lot, and the Vice Admiral level Marine is probably not their opponent. Boom. There was a violent crackling sound from the square. Luo-en and Garp Sengoku blasted out again, and both sides flew upside down tens of meters away. The 2 sides stand opposite each other. Good boy. Your strength is indeed extremely powerful. Sengoku and I can't take you down together. Garp's eyes were still full of relief, and Sengoku looked at Luo-en meaningfully. Master. The 3 Zoro came to Luo-en. Luo-en saw that Zoro had retrieved the knife, and his stamina was indeed exhausted. Use Rinnegan for 2 days and 2 nights to maintain Susanoo's form, and fight against the powerful one after another. His physical strength is indeed exhausted. Now that the business has rescued the Zoro 3, there is no need to stay in Marineford. When Ryujin Jaka was inserted into the scabbard on his waist, his eyes closed slightly, and when he opened again, it was already a purple swirling Rinnegan. Put your hands together again to make a seal. Susanoo. With the voice falling, But he saw a blue-violet giant appearing above Luo-N's head again. And in order to retain physical strength, the Susanoo that Luo-N displayed this time was only a few dozen meters high. The blue-violet giant instantly opened his palm and held Zoro all three in his hands. Luo-N immediately said loudly, "Garp, Sengoku. My goal has been achieved. This battlefield originally belonged to you Marine and pirates, so I will no longer play with you two." The voice fell. The blue-purple giant shook his wings directly. Boom. I saw a huge air current suddenly rise from the ground, and the body of the blue-violet giant slowly rose into the air. Garp couldn't help but stepped forward and said, "Luo-N. What do you mean? Are you ready to escape?" Sengoku also stepped up and shouted. "You want to run after saving someone? Marineford, did you come and leave whenever you want? Never allow you to leave like this." Boom. With a sudden shock in both arms, Susanoo flew again already tens of meters high. Countless people present looked up at the blue-purple giant in the sky. This guy Luo-N, he is going to leave after he rescues the apprentices, Mama. The goal of his trip has been completed. Of course, leaving Marineford is the smartest choice. After all, one person's power is still too weak, even Luo-N can't defeat the entire Marine alone. Yeah, although he and Garp Sengoku are evenly matched, the Admiral haven't joined the battle yet. If all the strong from Marine see Luo-N together, Luo-N must not be Marine's opponent either. Countless people present were talking about Luo-N, and their eyes were already deeply jealous and fearful. Especially the ordinary Marine soldiers present. These Marine soldiers were eager for Luo-N to leave Marineford quickly. They did not want to be an enemy of Luo-N. To know, Luo-N has the ability to summon a meteorite, and the size of the meteorite is close to the size of Marineford Island. This is completely beyond everyone's imagination. Residents of Sabayati Archipelago watched the live video. "Luo-N, are you ready to leave?" "Great. Zoro is all right. Killing celestial dragons without being publicly executed, and now able to escape safely. It's great. Long live Luo-N, celestial dragons really deserve to die. Hey, keep your voice down, so support Luo-N and these bounty hunters, be careful to be targeted by celestial dragons." At this time, seeing the four bounty hunters headed by Luo-N leave, the faces of the local residents were filled with excitement. What does this mean? This means that the majesty of celestial dragons is not inviolable. Even if someone kills celestial dragons, they can escape safely. Celestial dragons no longer cover the sky with one hand. Some people dare to provoke the majesty of the world government. In the minds of these residents, Luo-N is the representatives who dare to resist the world government and are not afraid of power. It is precisely because of this. These residents are so excited. Pluton Rayleigh, who is lying leisurely on the rock, has been following the live broadcast of the film and television. Bounty hunter Luo-N, a man who can break through Marineford's headquarters, Marineford alone, and be able to evacuate safely. His name is bound to cause a sensation all over the world. If Luo-N leaves like this safely, it will greatly affect Marine's face. The two guys Garp and Sengoku. They have bet the dignity of Marine on Luo-N. In the bay, countless pirates looked at Luo-N who had turned into a blue-purple giant in the sky. Luo-N rescued his apprentices, he is ready to leave Marineford. Damn, Ace is still on the execution stage. Since Luo-N arrived, it seems that the entire Marine headquarters has become his home field, as if he is the protagonist of this war. It should be clearly a war between our Whitebeard pirate group and Marine. Luo-N's strength is simply terrifying, and he became the focus of the audience as soon as he appeared. Aboard the Moby Dick, Whitebeard's expression also became more serious. If Luo-N leaves Marineford, then all Marine's combat power can be used against us, and then our actions will be greatly hindered. This is not a good thing for our pirate group. Marco beside him also nodded and comforted. Originally, this was the battle between us and Marine. Even if Luo-N stays here, he will never be our helper. So we still need to rely on our own efforts to rescue Ace. Whitebeard nodded and laughed. Goo la 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 la. Yeah Marco. Our relatives can only be saved by ourselves. On the square, Marine soldiers all talked. Hurry up. Luo-N is best to leave as soon as possible. Our war was originally meant to deal with the Whitebeard pirates, but it was not used to deal with Luo-N. Hurry up and go as long as you can execute the son of the One Piece King. If Luo-N drops another meteorite, Marineford can't bear it anymore. Yeah, I don't want to face such a monster. They all wanted Luo-N to leave Marineford quickly. Shichibukai also looked up at Luo-N. As this man leaving, Empress Hancock said with a flushed face, I want to see him more. Doflamingo looked at the giant in the sky and couldn't help but gloomily said. The Buddha howl. After completing the purpose of this trip, do you leave? This bounty hunter is going to shake the entire sea with his name from today. The Marine headquarters alone was able to retreat unharmed. I am afraid that almost no one in this world has accomplished such a feat. The three Marine admiral also looked to the sky. Ah la la, it seems that this guy wants to escape. Aokiji said lazily, but then, he is really strong. Kizaru joked. It's terrible. There is still physical strength to release the giant to fly away. This guy Luo-N is the real monster. Akainu looked up at Luo En solemnly. There was still a bruise on his face that was beaten by Luo En, and his appearance was somewhat affected. If this guy can leave as soon as possible, it should be a good thing for us Marine. Otherwise, you have to deal with Luo En and Whitebeard at the same time, it will be troublesome then. ... Under the execution stage, both Sengoku Garp looked at Luo En in the sky. Ms. Crane, Marine's general staff, came and said in a low voice. Garp, Sengoku, it is very troublesome to let Luo En leave. Have you figured out how to explain it to the world government? Garp didn't care about it, jokingly said. This kid is too strong. Even if I join forces with Sengoku, I can't keep him. How about such an explanation? Sengoku still had cold sweat on his forehead, and he didn't know whether the decision he made today was right or wrong. At this time, there will be a period later. With the cry of Luo En, the blue-purple Susanoo rose directly into the sky, and instantly disappeared from everyone's sight. Need time. The scene of Marineford's original noise was also plunged into silence again because of Luo En's departure. Everyone present had realized that Luo En had left Marineford with his apprentices. Marine headquarters, Marineford. Now only the Marine and Whitebeard pirates are left. There were even 4 criminals on the execution platform. As of 2.6, only the son of One Piece, Portgas d'Ace remains. In the original 5-7 warlords of the sea, only Bartholomew Kuma, Empress Hancock, and Doflamingo were left. Hoo. The sea breeze blows wantonly. The entire sea in Marineford Bay has long been a frozen world. Since Luo En left Marineford, the atmosphere at this time turned out to be extremely quiet. Finally, Sengoku had once again stood on the execution platform, and then looked at Whitebeard on the mobile bay in the bay. Whitebeard, there are still 2 hours before the execution of Ace. Since Luo En has left, then now this is a battlefield between Marine and pirates again. Luo En left, Marine just can do its best to deal with the Whitebeard pirates. Therefore, the departure of Luo En is also a good thing for Marine in this respect. As Sengoku's voice fell, Whitebeard couldn't help laughing up to the sky. Goo la 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 la. Let Luo En get out of here first, so that you can concentrate on fighting our pirates. Sengoku, you deserve to be the resourceful general. It seems that Ace's execution is even more important to Marine. Sengoku's eyes wrinkled slightly and he didn't explain much. Order again. All Marines listen to the order. Expel all the pirates from Marineford. To ensure the normal execution of the sentence. The voice fell. The Marines in the audience suddenly boiled. Luo En finally left. Now you only need to deal with the Whitebeard pirates. These pirates are the most vicious guys. Kill these pirates and maintain Marines' justice. Never let the evil blood of One Piece be rescued. Go. Countless Marines raised their arms and shouted. The most oppressive man, Luo En, has left Marineford, and their morale has gradually recovered. Moreover, as Marines, they have always regarded the pirates as their enemies. After receiving Sengoku's order to continue attacking the pirates, they again desperately slew towards the pirates. At this time, Whitebeard saw the Marines rushing. Immediately, he also made a big move. Sons, enter Marineford Plaza. Rescue Ace. Rescue our loved ones. Need time. Countless pirates present also shouted. Go. Kill to Marineford Plaza. Rescue Ace. Go. There was another fierce battle between Marine and the pirates, but Marine did not lose much combat power. After one day, the war on the top has already come to an end. The ending is still the same as in the original. The pirates Whitebeard and Ace both died in battle, and Blackbeard gained Whitebeard's shock fruit ability. In the end, Shanks, one of the 4 emperors, the red-haired Shanks, came to the scene to put an end to the top war. But, with the news of the fall of Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, the sea shook the sea. At the same time, all the news media scrambled to report on this incident. However, under the newspapers of the news media, the protagonist of this top war is not Whitebeard or Ace, but a bounty hunter named Luo En. The name Luo En once again set off a huge sensation at sea. Chapter 68. The world is shaking. The Hunters Guild is established. Advertise here. This incident on top of the war. It has been reported by countless news media, and the headlines of news reports have also caused shocks. The war on the top comes to an end. Whitebeard fell, Firefist Ace died in battle, and the bounty hunter Luo En went to Marineford alone. Open black lens bracket. Luo En broke into Marine headquarters alone, rescued his apprentice and left, close black lens bracket. The world is shaking. Luo En, the man who is alone in the Marine headquarters. Single battle against Marine powerhouses. The strongest bounty hunter Luo En. The real protagonist on top of the war. The strongest bounty hunter Luo En. There are countless eye-catching headlines in news reports, but the focus is on the content of the bounty hunter Luo En. The world has gradually become a sensation. East Blue Guard Island. Countless local residents gathered together, and their eyes were filled with shock and excitement. There was a round table among them, and there was a newspaper on the round table, and everyone in the room was watching the newspaper. There are photos of Susanoo who Luo En incarnates in the newspapers, and there are also photos of Luo En summoning meteorites. There are even photos of the scene when Luo En rescued the 3 of Zoro. Mr. Luo-en rescued his apprentices. Moreover, Mr. Luo-en went to Marine headquarters alone to rescue Zoro and the others. Look at this meteorite half the size of Marineford. According to the newspaper, it was also summoned by Mr. Luo-en. Mr. Luo-en is simply too strong, right? The eyes of the local residents were filled with an expression of incomparable worship. Luo-en has lived on Gal Island for 3 years, and the local residents on the island have a deep affection for Luo-en. At this time, after learning from the news that Luo-en had rescued Zoro and them, the local residents felt extremely happy and excited. Although I don't know when I will see Mr. Luo-en again. But at least for now, Mr. Luo-en and Zoro are both safe. So we can rest assured. Grand Line Baldigo. Monkey D. Dorag was sitting in the office, his expression was already extremely serious at this time. Sabo was standing at the table talking to Dorag. Mr. Dorag. This is probably the case in this top war. The bounty hunter Luo-en entered Marineford alone, and finally left with his apprentices without any trouble. Even people all over the world have expressed support for Luo-en and Luo-en's apprentices. Because they killed celestial dragons, and they have not yet received a real public sentence, thus challenging the majesty of the world government. Sabo finished speaking slowly. Dorag can't help but nodded. Luo-en's apprentice killed celestial dragons. There is no doubt that such a move is very popular. The most important thing is that Luo-en rescued them and saved them from being executed by Marine. The behavior of Luo-en undoubtedly damaged the authority of the celestial dragon's government even more. Paused. Dorag ordered again. Sabo, this guy Luo-en is very worthy of attention. If there is a chance, maybe our revolutionary army can still cooperate with him. Hear this bustling. Sabo also said, yes. Dorager was born 09. I will follow Luo-en's movements closely. Cake Island. A secret room. Charlotte Linlin, one of the 4 emperors, was lying on the ground, her saliva flowed all over the ground. Zizi. She picked up a large piece of cake and stuffed it in her mouth, and then swallowed it directly, even before the things in her mouth had eaten, she picked up another piece of cake. Dong dong dong. The door of the secret room was pushed open. Kata Curry has walked in. Mother. Recently, a major incident has happened at sea. Whitebeard died in battle. Kata Curry bowed and said directly. Suddenly. What are you saying? Kata Curry. Is Whitebeard dead? Charlotte Linlin immediately sat up and couldn't believe it. She took the newspaper handed over by Katakuri, and then scanned it carefully. Edward Newgate. This man is really dead. Just to go to Marineford to save Roger's son. It shouldn't be. Charlotte Linlin sighed heavily. Kata Curry continued. By the way, Mom. In addition to the death of Whitebeard this time, there is another person who deserves our attention. It was Luo-en, the bounty hunter who killed the golden lion Shiki before. I heard the name Luo-en. Charlotte Linlin couldn't help frowning. Luo-en is just a bounty hunter. What's worth paying attention to? Katakuri explained. Luo-en went alone to Marineford, the headquarters of Marineford, and even in the end he left unharmed. And according to the latest news, Luo-en should have entered the New World. His strength is very powerful, so we must pay more attention to this guy. Charlotte Linlin still sneered dismissively. Okay, Kata Curry. It's just a kid whose hair hasn't grown up yet. What's worth paying attention to? As one of the Sea Emperors of New World, Charlotte Linlin has sufficient confidence in her own strength. Kata Curry is also ready to speak. Charlotte immediately told him. By the way, Kata Curry. Now that Whitebeard has fallen, his territory will definitely be contested by many pirates. You will now take people to occupy the sites of Whitebeard. Especially the Fish-Man Island in the underwater world. I remember the Fish-Man Island's desserts are superb. Seeing Charlotte Linlin said, Kata Curry nodded. Good mom. Please rest assured, I will arrange these things now. New World Wanokuni. Ghost Island. Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, was drinking sullen wine. Asshole Shanks. To prevent Laozi from occupying Whitebeard's territory. If you let Laozi see you again next time, you must be cut off. Oh. Previously, he knew that the Whitebeard pirates was about to attack the Marine headquarters, so Kaido decided to take advantage of the vacancy and attack Whitebeard's territory. However, Kaido was blocked by the red-haired Shanks, so he hated the red-haired Shanks so much. At this time, Yan Calamity Cinder has already walked into the Ghost Island. With a newspaper in his hand, he couldn't help but say to Kaido. Master Kaido, according to the latest intelligence, Whitebeard Edward Newgate has been killed in battle, and Portgas d'Ace, the son of One Piece, has also been killed. The voice fell. I only saw Kaido's expression change suddenly and burst into tears. Ming woo woo ah. Whitebeard, you guy died in the battle, but this is something I had expected a long time ago. The reason you died in Marineford, after all, is because you are too weak. If you can have an immortal body like me, no one can kill you at all. Woo ha 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 ha. Kaido's emotions are always ups and downs, sometimes crying and sometimes laughing, which is simply unpredictable. Immediately afterwards, Yan Calamity Cinder continued. Master Kaido, I am afraid there is a person in this top war that deserves our attention. He drove into Marineford alone, and rescued 3 criminals unharmed, and finally left successfully. This man should have heard his name before. He is the original East Blue bounty hunter Luo En. The voice fell. Kaido suddenly wrinkled his eyes. Luo En. Bounty hunter Luo En. I remember his name. It was his apprentice who killed Apu, the intelligence commissioner of our pirate group, in Sabayati Archipelago, right? The people who dared to kill us beasts pirates simply don't want to live anymore. His tone was already full of anger. Yan Calamity reminded. Master Kaido, don't underestimate this bounty hunter Luo En. He went to Marineford alone, and in the end he left unharmed. Need time. Kaido couldn't help but scolded. What is Marineford alone? Laozi has been alone in Marineford. I don't know how many times. What can those marine guys do to me? Even if Marine can catch Laozi, can they kill Laozi? The words are full of arrogance and arrogance. Kaido didn't pay attention to the bounty hunter Luo En at all. Master Kaido is right. I am sensitive. Yan Baijin had to answer respectfully. Kaido immediately commanded with a big hand. Needless to say, now send someone to investigate Luo En's location. To dare to kill our pirates, Laozi must kill Luo En and his apprentices. Yan Calamity Cinder had to respectfully said. Yes. Master Kaido, I'll make arrangements now. Previously at Sabayati Archipelago, the Zoro trio beheaded Apu, one of the supernovae. But what the three of Zoro and the others didn't know was that Apuna was the intelligence commissioner of Beast's Pirates. Therefore, Beast's Pirates was accidentally provoked. Red line. Holy Land Mariajoy. In the office of Commander-in-Chief Kong. Sengoku, have you decided? Are you sure you want to resign? Kong couldn't help but said in a deep voice. And Sengoku had already decided. Being Marine is too tired. Being Martial Marine is even more tired. He is old and should give way to younger generations. I only heard Sengoku say with a serious face. Yes. I have decided to resign. And I recommend Aokiji to be the next Marshal. However at this time, Kong frowned and said, Sengoku. Do you want to recommend Admiral Aokiji as the Marshal? But Five Elders seems to recommend Akainu to be the next Marshal. Sengoku couldn't help but shook his head. Fine. I don't want to care about this matter. It's up to you to decide who is the Marshal in the end. He was already tired. Paused. Kong couldn't help but said. After this top war incident, Marine has also been greatly injured, so Five Elders wants to conduct world conscription to improve its strength. Sengoku also nodded and sighed heavily. Really? This war between Marine and the Whitebeard pirate group has indeed severely injured Marine. Even Marineford is ruined. Sengoku's expression is a bit serious. Although he has decided to dismiss the position of Marshal, he still cares about Marine's affairs. Immediately afterwards, Kong continued. And that bounty hunter Luo En. He actually took 3 criminals from Marineford, and those 3 criminals killed celestial dragons. So blatantly provoking the authority of the world government. Five Elders has regarded Luo En as an enemy of the world government, and has decided to issue a wanted reward order against Luo En. Sengoku was not too surprised to hear this. After all, Luo En did break into Marineford and rescued Zoro who killed celestial dragons in public. This is Chiguquo's open provocation of the world government. So Sengoku was not too surprised, and asked casually, wanted. How many wanted orders are offered? 3 billion Baileys. As Kong said this number. Sengoku, who was still calm, was suddenly shocked. What? A reward of 3 billion Baileys? This is the first time a reward has been offered to him. From ancient times to the present, no one has offered a bounty as high as 3 billion for the first time. This number really shocked Sengoku. And Kong continued to add. Not only does Luo En offer a reward of 3 billion, his apprentices also offer a reward of 1 billion Baileys. The blatant killing of celestial dragons and the robbing of the execution grounds to rescue criminals are all acts of provoking the majesty of the world government. 3 billion is already second only to the bounty of the 4 emperors, which is enough to show that the world government attaches great importance to Luo En. It is true, only the initial bounty is a full 3 billion Baileys. It seems that the world government has listed Luo En as an extremely dangerous person. If Luo En occupies the territory like the 4 emperors and has his own subordinates, then his bounty is definitely more than 3 billion. After hearing these words, Sengoku turned around to leave the office. But Kong's voice came again. I heard that you and Garp didn't catch Luo En when they joined forces. The Whitebeard pirate group is a pirate group of 50,000 people, and Luo En is just one person. But the Whitebeard pirates failed to rescue, but Luo En succeeded in the rescue alone. Sengoku, what do you say is this? He asked meaningfully. But Sengoku just spread his hands and said helplessly. In my opinion, Luo En is stronger than Whitebeard. Garp and I can't stop him together. Isn't this a normal thing? After speaking, he left directly. Only Kong looked thoughtfully at Sengoku's back. Then I couldn't help muttering to myself. That guy Luo En. Better than Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world. How can it be? New world, on an uninhabited island. Luo En and Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph are 4 people. They are surrounding a campfire, and 4 of them are sitting by the campfire, but they are all serious at this time. Since Luo En rescued the 3 of them, and left Marineford safely. That means that they have challenged the majesty of the world government on the ground, so they have been at odds with the world government. Master, what should I do next? The world government must have been eyeing us. You certainly can't go back to East Blue to live a stable and leisurely life. It's all we have troubled you. Johnny and Joseph couldn't help asking. Luo-en is rather indifferent. Zoro couldn't help asking. Master, look at you like this. Should we have a plan long ago? Luo-en pouted and said helplessly. At this point. Then you don't have to think about a stable life. I do have an idea. Johnny and Joseph asked immediately. Master, what's your idea? Say it quickly, don't sell it. Zoro couldn't help but look over. Luo-en stood up directly at this time, a golden light flashed in his eyes, and his mind couldn't help but think of Garp and Sengoku deliberately being beaten off by him, this kind of deliberate release of water. Paused. Then Luo-en said directly. Since the world government has been eyeing us, I am afraid that it has even issued a wanted order for us. It seems that there will definitely not be any stable days in the future. So I decided to create an organization in New World to fight against the Celestial Dragon's government and curb the influence of the Celestial Dragon's government. Paused. Luo-en continued to say meaningfully. Due to Marine's position, Marine needs to be constrained by the world government, so certain things are not convenient for Marine to do. So our organization can also replace Marine in a certain way and do things that Marine can't do, thereby expanding the influence of this organization in the world. Luo-en has this idea. It was also because during the Marineford War, Garp and Sengoku deliberately released water, allowing him to more easily rescue Zoro who killed celestial dragons. Luo-en knows in his heart. Garp and Sengoku must have high hopes for themselves, and they must hope that they can do something for this world ruled by celestial dragons. And now Luo-en has had an irreconcilable contradiction with the world government, so Luo-en simply established an organization to confront the world government. As long as the power created by Luo-en develops to a large enough scale, it will definitely be able to influence or even curb the world government's overarching rule. Hear Luo-en's thoughts. The three of Zoro's pupils suddenly shrank. What, Master? Are you talking about creating an organization? That is, creating a power. If you don't join the pirates or Marine, Master, you originally wanted to create a power. The creator of a power. It takes much courage. Zoro and the three of them just heard Luo-en's words, and they felt extremely excited at this moment. Luo-en went on to explain. Now we have had an irreconcilable contradiction with the world government. Only by creating a sufficiently influential organization can it stand up against the world government. So our organization also needs to attract like-minded people to join, so as to gradually grow our power and influence. The three Zoro suddenly looked at each other. Their eyes were already showing immense excitement. How about creating a power? It's so cool. Master, we all support you absolutely. By the way, Master, what is the name of the organization you are going to create? We must first spread the reputation of this organization to attract more like-minded people to join us. Luo-en couldn't help but narrowed his expression and thought for a moment. Name. Let me think about it. Finally, only 463 saw him wave his hand. Okay, I have decided. The name of this organization is called the Hunters Guild. The voice fell. The Zoro trio suddenly felt full of blood rushing to their hearts. Hunters Guild. Hunter. We were originally bounty hunters. And now we are not only hunting pirates, but also those criminals. The name of the Hunters Guild. It's so appropriate. Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph were suddenly ecstatic. They seemed to be witnessing the birth of an era. In this era, there are not only marine pirates, but also a huge force called the Hunters Guild. It will definitely leave them in history. Well, from now on, the Hunters Guild was formally established. Luo-en immediately raised the wine bottle in his hand. Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph also raised the bottle. Master. Now you have another identity. You are now the president of our Hunters Guild. Ha 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 ha. Bing. Falling with a crisp sound. On this uninhabited island, the Hunters Guild has been formally established. Although the Hunters Guild now has only 4 of them, it is still the prototype of a guild. But there is no doubt that it will attract more people to join in the future. Immediately afterwards, Luo-en and Zoro said with heart and soul. This uninhabited island will be called a hunting island from now on, and it will also be the base of our Hunters Guild. In order to spread the reputation of the Hunters Guild as soon as possible, we need to act separately in New World. The 3 of you go to sea to explore New World, and I am guarding this island. Heard these words. The 3 Zoro nodded in response. Yes, Master. If we have been under your protection, our strength will definitely not grow. In order to enhance our strength, but also to let our name and the name of the Hunters Guild spread all over the sea, we really need to go to sea to experience our strength. Seeing my 3 apprentices so enlightened, Luo-en couldn't help but nodded in appreciation, and then took out 3 cheats. They are top-level swordsmanship, top-level armament hockey, top-level observation hockey, these 3 top-level cheats. Master. This is again. When Zoro and the others saw the 3 cheat books handed over by Luo-en, they were overjoyed again. In fact, these 3 top cheats were obtained by Luo-en through the system check-in last night. No doubt, these 3 top-level cheats are of little use to Luo-en who are already at their peak, but they are definitely a great help for Zoro. Luo-en said earnestly again. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph. I hope that when I see you again next time, your reputation has already been heard throughout the world. These 3 top-level cheats are the gifts I prepared for you before parting. I hope you will practice hard. Upon seeing this, Johnny and Joseph were all excited at once. With the top cheats handed to us by Master, our strength will surely be able to advance by leaps and bounds again. I want the name of Sword Saint Johnny to ring through the world. I also want the name of my sword god Joseph to shake the sea. After rejoicing, the 2 of them showed a lonely look again. Farewell to Master again, but we obviously only met soon. Zoro looked at Luo-en reluctantly and said, Yes, Master. You traveled thousands of miles from East Blue to Marineford to rescue us. We haven't had time to thank you, and now you want us to leave to explore New World. This shook his head. Luo-en said indifferently. All right, only I can defend the base of our Hunters Guild. The 3 of you still need to break into the New World to improve your strength through experience. Someone just happened to come to the door. I will also send you to the shore. The voice fell. Are the 3 Zoro confused? Someone is here. Master, who is it? Chapter 69. Who do you think I am? Get the boat over. Advertise here. Outside the hunting island, a pirate ship was staying 500 meters away from the shore. The pirate flag on the ship was a huge ivory, and the bow was the head of a mammoth. Mammoth. It is the pirate ship of Beast's Pirates. The person on the boat is nearly 10 meters tall and strong, with a ponytail and 2 braids tied to his head, a metal mask on his mouth, and 2 ivory-like decorations on his head and shoulders. Jack is one of Beast's Pirates, 3 plagues, and one of the 3 major boards. He is the captain of the Mammoth, Zone Elephant Fruit Ancient Species Mammoth Form Ability. Bounty of 1 billion Baileys. Captain Jack. A pirate bowed behind him and shouted. Report to Captain Jack. According to the news we found, Luo-en and his 3 apprentices are all on this uninhabited island. But it hasn't come out for a long time. After hearing these words, Jack couldn't help frowning. Haven't been out for so long. What the hell are you plotting? Needless to say, we will land directly on this island, following Jack's order. But the pirate showed a horrified expression. Captain Jack. I have notified Master Kaido of this matter. Let's better not approach this island. 467 inches. That's Luo-en. But a man who can break through Marineford alone and retreat safely. Just relying on his people is still too dangerous. They had been ordered by Kaido to investigate Luo-en's whereabouts. Because Luo-en's apprentices killed Beast's Pirates intelligence agent Apu, Kaido was furious about the incident and ordered Luo-en to kill them. At this time, according to Jack's investigation, it has been detected that Luo-en and they are all on this uninhabited island, and they have conveyed the information to Kaido. However, at this time, but watching Jack's face showed a trace of unpleasant color. What did you say? This island is too dangerous. The pirate suddenly showed a look of horror, as if he was afraid that Jack would suddenly rise in anger. Master Jack, I just said, it's best to wait for Kaido-sama to come in person. If not, I haven't waited for him to finish. Jack suddenly showed an impatient look. What is Luo-en? Who do you think I am? Get the boat over. Worthy of being Jack the Ship King in the original book. Even facing Luo-en at this time, he did not have any fear at all, and even directly ordered to enter the island by boat. At this time, the pirate had already revealed an expression of incomparable horror. But he didn't dare to give Jack's order, so he had to say. Yes, Master Jack, I'm going to arrange to get close to the island. If you don't agree to Jack, I'm afraid he will be killed immediately. Therefore, the pirate can only agree first. And Jack is already very rough and thick, maybe there will be a chance to escape by then. This pirate thought in his heart. Next, the mammoth that Jack was on began to move towards the uninhabited island. He was not afraid of Luo-en at all. Although Jack had heard about Luo-en a long time ago, he said that he broke into Marineford alone and left unharmed. But for Jack, there is nothing to be afraid of. On an uninhabited island. Wrong. It should be called a hunting island now. Luo-en took Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph toward the shore. The observation hockey of the Zoro trio has also been spread out. Master, sure enough, someone has already appeared on the shore. And there seems to be a pirate ship, and the people on the pirate ship are extremely violent. It seems to be the strongest pirate we have ever encountered so far. The ability to detect the sight of 3 people. Luo-en also nodded and praised. Good. It seems that you are already very good at using observation hockey. After learning the top-level observation hockey, your combat effectiveness and detection ability will definitely go further. Watching the strength of his apprentices grow to this point, Luo-en is still very pleased. After all, no matter how you say it. Although Luo-en did not directly recognize the 3 of them when he was in East Blue before, after they went to the Grand Line and killed celestial dragons. Luo-en has truly recognized Zoro's identity. Especially at Marineford, Luo-en also called Zoro his apprentices in front of everyone. Enough to be visible, Luo-en has recognized them. At this time Sulong and the others heard Luo-en's praise, and the 3 of them couldn't help showing a hint of joy. Gradually, everyone had arrived on the shore of the uninhabited island, and then looked up. Sure enough, It was a pirate ship, and according to the signs on the pirate ship, it can be judged that this is the Mammoth of Beast's pirates. And Jack, who was on the Mammoth, was standing on the deck. Luo-en couldn't help but jokingly said, "Jack, are you from Beast's pirates? Why are they coming to trouble us?" Even the three of Zoro couldn't help but ask a little curiously. "Master, why do these people come to us? We just came to New World." The three Zoro all looked confused. And this time, Luo-en, who was a traverser, suddenly remembered. "You killed 4 supernovas in Sabayati Archipelago, right? One of the supernovas named ARP is an intelligence commissioner for Beast's pirates. From now on, it seems that you have provoked Beast's pirates, one of the 4 emperors." The voice fell. The 3 Zoro people suddenly showed a state of astonishment. "Master, what? One of the Baipu pirates, one of the 4 emperors?" Although the 3 of Zoro came to New World for the first time, even in the first half of the Grand Line, they had already heard the name of New World 4 emperors. For them, the 4 emperors are the unreachable existence, but the existence that stands on the pinnacle of the pirates in this world. So they are a little surprised now. It just killed a supernova, and it provokes Beast's pirates, one of the 4 emperors. At this time, Luo-en also comforted, "Do not be afraid. For you, it will be a matter of time before you face the powerhouses of the 4 emperors level. What's more, now it's only under the banner of Beast's pirates, not the captain of Beast's pirates Kaido. As you have mastered the high-level 2-color hockey, and mastered the strength of high-level swordsmanship. Absolutely qualified to fight him. Luo-en also just wants to test the strength of the students. Therefore, I told them directly that I was not going to make a move and let them deal with the pirate." I heard what Luo-en said. The 3 Zoro looked at each other and then nodded firmly. Although their strength is enough to defeat a supernova-level pirate, this one is a large pirate offering a reward of 1 billion. It is also the strongest pirate they have encountered since they came to New World. "Good, Master. Don't worry. What? Jack will leave it to us." The Zoro trio have decided to join forces against Jack. After all, if you are singled out, I'm afraid it must not be the opponent of this 1 billion pirate offering a reward. Chapter 70A4 Emperor Can't Help Me. Advertise here. Finally, Jack on the Mammoth pirate ship had also noticed them. "Master Jack, it's Luo-en, their 4 bounty hunters. It's Luo-en them." The pirate beside him was already in a state of consternation. They have all heard of the story of Luo-en alone in the Horselin Fanduo. Even if you haven't seen Luo-en make a move with your own eyes, you can fully imagine the power of Luo-en. Dare to break into Marineford alone, and be able to escape safely, is enough to prove the strength of Luo-en. At this time, Jack couldn't help but said coldly. "Laozi has seen it. What about the 4 of them Luo-en? Don't talk nonsense with Laozi. Get the boat over." Jack still had his hands on his hips, his eyes were already staring at the 4 of Luo-en, and there was even a cold chill flashing under his eyes. Even if he has seen 4 bounty hunters including Luo-en, Jack doesn't know what fear is. Gradually, the Mammoth was already near the shore. Then he stopped about 20 meters away from the 4 of Luo-en. Ta 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 ta. Jack walked directly to the front of the deck, and then stared at Luo-en with huge eyes. The 3 of Zoro followed Luo-en. "You are the bounty hunter Luo-en." Jack took the lead and asked. "You killed the intelligence commissioner Apu of our pirate group, right?" The pirate beside Jack immediately reminded. "Master Jack, it was Luo-en's apprentice who killed Apu, not Luo-en." "Oh." Jack nodded and then said again. "Luo-en. It was your apprentices who killed the intelligence commissioner Apu of our pirate group, right? How can you explain as a master?" The voice fell. All the pirates on the boat looked at Luo-en and the 4 of them, but these pirates showed great fear. After all, the fame of Luo-en has shaken the sea recently. I am afraid that no one of them does not know the name of Luo-en. Only Jack looked at Luo-en like a stunned head, and even a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Hear Jack's question. Luo-en couldn't help but replied a little funny. "Explain. What's there to explain? It's just killing a pirate. Need time." Jack was already furious. "Asshole. Just killed a pirate. Did you know that Apu Nai is a member of our Beast's pirates? How about knowing?" Luo-en's words were still full of joking, because he didn't put Jack in his eyes at all. For Luo-en, Jack is not a threatening pirate at all, at least he has to come to the level of Kaido to make Luo-en take it seriously. However, it was Luo-en's words that had completely aroused Jack's anger. "Asshole, what did you say? Do you know what the consequences will be if you dare to provoke our pirate group?" While talking, Jack jumped directly to the shore and stood opposite Luo-en. The killing intent has been released. No doubt, Jack is going to single out the 4 of Luo-en. Master Jack, come back soon. He is Luo-en." The pirates on the ship were shocked. Jack is too terrible, right? How dare to face 4 bounty hunters including Luo-en alone? However, Jack seemed to have never cared, completely taking the persuasion of these pirates as a breeze. And Jack even directly said proudly, "Luo-en, the 4 of you. Do you come one by one? Are 4 people?" The voice fell. The pirates were suddenly dumbfounded, as if Jack was like a lunatic. Master Jack is right. How dare he provoke Luo-en them? One by one. Are 4 of them together? How arrogant is Lord Jack? It is true. Even these pirates thought Jack was too arrogant. Jack's words hurt Luo N's ears. I only heard Johnny burst into laughter directly. Puff ha 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 ha. Jack, right. You are just a subordinate of Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, so you dare to challenge our master. Joseph also ridiculed. It seems I really don't know that the sky is high and the earth is thick. Our master doesn't bother to do anything with you. To deal with you, we will do it. Zoro finally replied. Okay, no nonsense. Take care of this guy. Immediately. However, the 3 of Zoro stood directly behind Luo N and stood opposite Jack. Luo N directly took out a jug of wine from his waist and poured it down, preparing to appreciate the battle between the apprentices and Jack. However, at this time, the pirates on the boat saw that Luo N didn't even plan to take action, but only sent his 3 apprentices. Suddenly these pirates breathed a sigh of relief. So far so good. Master Jack only needs to deal with his apprentices. If you just face their apprentice, then Master Jack will definitely win. Although these pirates know that Jack is definitely not Luo N's opponent, if they only face Luo N's apprentices, they must have the power to fight. But Jack didn't seem to appreciate it, and he still provoked proudly. What's wrong, Luo N? I've heard of your name long ago. Why did you even persuade you when facing me today? Hear these provocative words. The pirates are already speechless. Hey Master Jack, you better say a few words. If you provoke Luo N, the consequences would be disastrous. Now these pirates have even started Hume, and they are beginning to regret how they went to sea with Jack. At this time, Luo N still disdainfully said, For you. I don't need to do it myself yet. My apprentices are completely able to defeat you. Suddenly, asshole, dare to look down on Laozi so much. Who do you think I am? Jack was angry. He held 2 scythes and slashed directly towards Luo N. But Luo N still stood in place, not even moving at all. When the Zoro 3 saw this, they immediately drew their knives. Kang. Boom. With a blast of air lifted away. Jack's scythe has been blocked by the 3 of Zoro. Immediately afterwards, Zoro not only said solemnly, Jack, your opponent is us. Never allow you to disturb our master drinking. It is true. Even when he saw that Jack had already shot at him, Luo N still didn't panic, and even raised his head to take a sip of wine. This is their trust in Zoro. Even Luo N leaned directly next to a big tree, and then took a sip of wine. Asshole, you 3 guys. You killed Apu, the intelligence agent of our pirate group, right? Then Laozi will kill the 3 of you first. Then go and kill your master Luo N. Now that Jack's attack has been blocked by the Zoro trio, then he is thinking of killing the Zoro trio first. The most shocking thing is, Jack even wanted to kill Luo N after killing the Zoro 3. The pirates on the boat could not help but feel helpless. Master Jack, is there something wrong with his brain? Why do you have to deal with Luo N? They only murmured and didn't dare to let Jack hear these words. Finally, the 3 of Jack and Zoro have already set their posture. The 2 sides are separated by dozens of meters. Go to hell. It was still Jack who suddenly violent. Holding 2 sickles, they killed the 3 Zoro directly. The 3 Zoro's eyes wrinkled slightly. Go together. With the voice falling, Johnny Joseph, holding 2 famous knives, Sakura Ten and Withered Wood, slashed at Jack first. Jack held a sickle in each hand to block it again. Kang. The collision of weapons brought fierce sparks. Johnny and Joseph both fought intently, with veins emerging on their hands. However, Zoro has launched an attack almost at the same time. 3 swords flow, ghost cut. Only saw Zoro's body flash past. Jack just felt a sharp pain in his chest. What? Both hands suddenly shook. Boom. Johnny Joseph took a few steps back. Have to say, Jack's power is indeed extremely powerful. However, after being attacked by Zoro's knife, 3 bloodstains appeared on Jack's chest. And the bloodstains are also soaking up blood. What? Asshole, you 3 damn it, Jack scolded angrily. Zoro looked at Jack with a faint look and wondered. What a strong defense. My move did not directly kill him in seconds. This guy has really hard skin and bones. Yes, although Zoro had already given Jack a knife. But it's like a skin trauma. You can even see the 3 bloodstains of Jack, which started to stop the blood, and then slowly healed. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph, Jack, this is Zone Devil Fruit's ability. His defense and resilience are extremely powerful. Luo N's voice reminded appropriately. The 3 Zoro nodded suddenly. Asshole, you 3 bastards. Laozi must kill you all. However, Jack's body suddenly began to swell, and his mane began to grow, even his body was still directly on the ground. In an instant, Jack has transformed into a mammoth. It was originally a human body, but has it turned into a monster. Moreover, in this beast form, his defensive power and resilience have been greatly improved. This Jack is completely different from the pirates we met before. The 3 Zoro's eyes narrowed and said solemnly. It is true, Jack is the first pirate they have ever encountered to offer a reward of 1 billion Baileys. It was also the first Zoro to use the 3-sword style ghost slash, only to see some pirates with skin injuries. A moment Haki. Immediately Zoro said coldly. Johnny Joseph knew both. Only seeing the three of them immediately covered armament Haki on their weapons, their attack power once again increased by a notch. Such a cumbersome mammoth must not be too flexible. We attack him directly. Do it. Zoro has become the commander of the three of them. With an order, the three of them slaughtered towards Jack again. Death to Laozi. But watching the mammoth spit out human words, and the huge elephant's nose suddenly swept out. Boom. Even the ground lifted up endless dust. However, the Zoro trio had already risen into the air, and they were holding weapons to kill the mammoth. Three swords style, tiger hunting. Sword stream flying dragon. Daoliu horse ghost. Each of the three used 3 moves to quickly slash towards the mammoth. Ming. With a scream, 5 wounds appeared on the mammoth's body again, and the 5 wounds were deeply visible in bone. It's armament Haki. It broke his defense directly. The armament Haki that Master taught us is really a good thing. The Zoro trio showed joy. At this time Jack has already used the mammoth form, and his defense and resilience have been enhanced a lot. But even so, he was still chopped down by the Zoro trio and screamed. Damn it, you guys, should it be the new world that just came from the first half of the Grand Line? Why use armament Haki? Jack asked incredulously. But the three of Sulong didn't bother to answer him. Still put on a fighting stance, ready for the next attack. Luo En saw the armament Haki of the Zoro trio, and couldn't help but appreciatively nodded and praised. Good, you guys did a great job. In C's like New World, Haki is the most important ability. From now on you must practice hard. Hear Luo En's praise. The three Zoro couldn't help but say. Thank you for your appreciation, Master. Don't worry, Master, we will definitely practice hard. Then he looked at Jack in the mammoth state again. Asshole, when facing Laozi, you dare to chat with each other. This is not to put Laozi in my eyes. Only one roar was heard. Jack, who was in a mammoth state, slammed into the Zoro 3 directly, and his big nose suddenly flicked, which had already covered armament Haki. Go to hell, Jack roared. The 3 of Zoro's eyes narrowed immediately, and the 3 of them worked together once again holding the knife to block the trunk of the elephant. Pin. There was only a loud crash of metal. The 3 of Zoro stepped back 2 steps, but Jack's trunk was directly shaken off. Boom boom boom. Even his gigantic mammoth didn't stand firmly, and slammed directly to the side, and then ran for a few steps before stopping. And the 3 Zoro rushed towards Jack again. The trio cut 5 bloodstains on the mammoth's body again, although the bloodstains are still healing slowly. But the intense pain even Jack couldn't help but feel the pain unbearable. Damn it, sure enough, this body is too heavy. You 3 bastards. Laozi must kill you today. Realize that the mammoth form is too bulky and not flexible enough. Only seeing Jack furious again. Orc form. The mammoth's figure began to change again, such a huge body began to shrink again, and then turned into an orc. But this orc form is different from the ordinary human form at the beginning. Compared with ordinary human figures. At this time, Jack's body swelled in a circle, and the muscles of his whole body became stronger, and his head turned into a mammoth shape. Appeared. Master Jack's strongest orc form has appeared. Master Jack in the orc form has both the defensive power and resilience of the beast form, and the agility and flexibility of the human form. Just facing Luo En's apprentice did he use the orc form. Then what should I do when facing it? With this question raised, the other pirates suddenly looked horrified. Yes, just facing Luo En's apprentices, Jack used the strongest form. How to deal with Luo En? But at this time, Jack doesn't want to think about that much anymore, he just wants to give Zoro and all 3 of them to Zaxen. The apprentices of Luo En. You all die for Laozi. Laozi must cut you off. It was directly seen that Jack rushed towards the Zoro trio, and the 2 sickles waved out again. When the 3 Zoro saw this, their eyes condensed and they were ready to perform the same trick again. Johnny Joseph still rushed forward, and the 2 blocked a sickle each. Kang. Then Zoro rushed towards Jack again with 3 swords. 3 swordsmanship Yasha. His body quickly rotated in midair and slashed towards Jack. And just now, Jack couldn't help laughing coldly, and his hands shook directly, shaking Johnny and Joseph into the air. Then there was a stern smile on his face, and the 2 sickles slashed directly at Zoro. Double knives slash. The 2 sickles fell directly. Zoro immediately showed a look of surprise. He didn't expect Jack to react, and even after he was able to shock Johnny and Joseph, he even attacked him. When about to transform the offensive into a defensive posture. The 2 knives in Zoro's hand directly blocked Jack's 2 sickles. Boom. There was a loud noise. Only saw Zoro's body drop directly to the ground by Jack. Boss Zoro. Boss Zoro. Both Johnny and Joseph shouted with great concern. I'm fine. Wait until the smoke clears. I saw that the sabers of Zoro's hands also firmly resisted Jack's 2 sickles. Then there was a sudden shock again. Zoro took the opportunity to get up from the ground. Boss Zoro. Boss Zoro. Johnny Joseph and the 2 also came to Zoro, and then all 3 of them stared at Jack slightly. The pirates on the ship raised their arms again and shouted. Boss Jack is really tough. Even so, they directly forced the 3 of Sulong back with 1 person. Boss Jack in the orc state is too strong. The pirates all began to cheer. Jack couldn't help showing a sorrowful smile, and his huge eyes stared at the Zoro trio. And walked towards them. Dong, dong, dong. Every step of Jack's huge body brings a huge sense of oppression. The apprentices of Luo En. It seems you are nothing more than that. I am invincible in the form of an orc. It's not just you, even your master Luo En is not my opponent. His words are still extremely arrogant. It was just a move that suppressed the three of Sulong, and at this time they were so arrogant that even Luo En was not his opponent. But Luo En still drank the wine and didn't care what Jack said. Such a character Luo En would not even be too lazy to take a look. But at this time, the Zoro trio were already furious. Asshole. Jack, right, what are you saying? Even Master is not your opponent. It is so. Let us defeat you. Although the three of them were suppressed by Jack and even beat Zoro into the ground, they were not injured. At this time, I saw Jack look so arrogant. They glanced at each other and nodded. What's wrong? Do you still want to fight this form of me? Zero. Look for flowers. It seems that I haven't realized what is meant by oppression. Let you see the strength of Laozi. The words are over. Seeing that the body more than 10 meters high suddenly jumped up directly, Jack held two sickles and attacked the Zoro. Boom. The three Zoro evaded the blow in an instant, and then surrounded Jack in a triangle. Surround me. So what? Laozi smashed you all. Jack doesn't seem to know what fear is, and he is holding two scythes and killing him again. Johnny held the famous knife Sakura 10 and suddenly cut out. Sword stream ear harbor bird. A slash wave rushed towards Jack. Jack's eyes wrinkled slightly, and he swung out with a giant sickle in his hand. Kang blocked this slash wave, but Joseph was already holding a famous knife and withered wood towards Jack. Dowley. 360 Trouble Phoenix. The same as the appearance of a slash wave, just like a cannonball shot directly at Jack. Boom. Jack swung his giant sickle again to block the blow. At the same time, however, Zoro had already turned the two knives in his hands like windmills, and a strong wind swept in. And still chanting in his mouth. 9 mountains and 8 seas. The one who has no ego. The 3,000 worlds of 3 swords style Upanishad. This is the strongest hit Zoro can use so far. With the voice falling. Jack hadn't even reacted yet, Zoro's figure had already jumped instantly. Only a handful of blood splashed in the air. Puff. Blood spurted out directly from the mouth, and an incomparable cleansing scar on Jack's body appeared. And the blood could not stop flowing out. Thump. Jack knelt directly on one knee, propped his hands on the ground, and was still gasping for breath. Hoo. So strong. As this Luo En's apprentice. It's just an apprentice, but he can have such a powerful swordsmanship. Hoo. He was so surprised. He is also quickly using the recovery power of the orc form, trying his best to recover the scars on his body. The pirates on the ship couldn't help being shocked when they saw this scene. Master Jack, how are you? Asshole. These 3 guys are not easy. They still hide this powerful move. Even Mr. Jack is injured. As this Luo En's apprentice. Once such a guy enters the new world, it will definitely cause a shock. At this time, Jack knelt on the ground on one leg, panting heavily, and even tried to recover from his injury. But obviously, the Zoro trio did not intend to fight him for a long time. The 3 looked at each other, and then the 3 stood together in a fighting stance. Asshole, don't you want me to recover from my injury? You guys. Hoo. Jack actually stood up again, although his abdomen was still bleeding. But I have to say, the resilience of Zone's fruit ability is indeed too strong, but at this moment, Jack's injury has been healed for a half. But obviously, Zoro 3 decided to give him a fatal blow. They were already standing together at this time, and the advanced armament Hawkeye had already been covered by the weapon. Jack roared when he saw this. Come on bastards. Laozi is Jack. Fight with you. The twin sickles slashed fiercely. Holding 2 sickles, he slashed at the Zoro trio. I saw that the 3 of Zoro suddenly performed a big move together. Combined attack skills. 5 swords flow. Awesome. The voice fell. The 3 of them flashed out towards Jack in an instant. The Zoro trio were already behind Jack, only to see a plume of blood gushing out directly. I could see the 5 pillars of blood gushing out of Jack's body, as if he couldn't stop the blood at all. Puff. Jack was suddenly shocked. Boom. The figure ran back a few steps, and then his eyes suddenly turned white. Thump. The huge body just fell to the ground. Just now, the combined attack skills of the 3 Zoro had penetrated Jack's body. The 10-meter-high body fell heavily to the ground, and the scarlet blood instantly soaked the ground. But I have to say that Zone's defense and resilience can be described as strong. Even if Jack's body has been pierced through 5 holes, countless blood has flowed out of the holes, but Jack still did not die directly at this time. Hoo. He even adjusted his breath, trying to recover again through the body's strong restorative power. Master Jack was knocked down, and he was knocked down by Luo En's apprentices. No, how is this possible? Master Jack will be knocked down by Luo En's apprentice. You must know that Luo En, as a master, hasn't made any moves yet. Is Luo En's apprentice already so powerful? The pirates on the pirate ship said in surprise. Hoo hoo hoo. Jack fell to the ground, still panting. The powerful resilience of Zone's ancient species is making his wounds heal quickly. But obviously, Jack has no chance. The three Zoro glanced at each other. Zoro said coldly, "Don't give him a chance to breathe." Johnny and Joseph nodded. Three swords Niu Needle. Sword Stream Flying Dragon. Sword Stream Flying Dragon. The three of them delivered a fatal blow again and slammed towards Jack, who fell on the ground. Another huge burst of blood sputtered out. Jack's head was directly cut off by the three of them, and his eyes were filled with despair and unwillingness. Even before death, Jack still didn't realize that even Luo En's apprentice could kill him, so Luo En's dealing with him was as easy as pinching an ant. One of the three plagues of beasts pirates, Jack, died in battle. All the pirates on the ship looked at the scene before them in shock. Master Jack, he is dead. And it was killed by Luo En's apprentices, and even Luo En didn't do anything at all. Are the disciples taught by Luo En so tough? Their hearts have been filled with fear. Suddenly a pirate shouted loudly. Quickly go. Get out of this place. Master Jack has been killed. Let's go. Obviously. Zoro couldn't let these pirates go. As the Zoro three jumped up, they had already rushed towards the pirate ship. They are like a tiger entering a flock, just beheading all these pirates in an instant. These ordinary pirates simply escaped the attack of the three of them. Finally, the shore of the island has fallen silent, and all the pirates have been killed. Only 4 bounty hunters are still alive. Luo En and Zoro are the three of them. Seeing that his apprentices had already defeated Jack, Luo En nodded and couldn't help showing relief in his eyes. Good. Compared to the previous time at East Blue, the strength of the three of you has improved by leaps and bounds. As long as you don't encounter a strong general at the Emperor level, there will definitely be no danger. I have handed you 3 top cheats before. If you can practice these 3 top-level cheats, and even meet a powerful general at the Emperor level, the 3 of you will be able to fight. It seems. I can also rest assured to let you break into the new world. It is true. As long as Zoro finishes the 3 top-level cheats of swordsmanship, armed sex, and knowledgeable sex. Even if they encounter a powerful general at the Emperor's level, the 3 of them don't even have to flee and can even fight each other. I heard what Luo En said. The 3 of Zoro couldn't help looking at each other. Good master, then we will set off right away. Don't worry. We will definitely start our Hunters Guild on the sea as soon as possible, and look for like-minded people to join our Hunters Guild. Luo En nodded. Well, very good. I look forward to your performance. Young man, just show your fists in New World. In fact, Luo En is only more than 20 years old, but at this time they call Zoro young people. It sounds funny. The voice fell. The 3 Zoro boarded Jack's pirate ship. Master, goodbye. I'm afraid Jack has already notified Kaido, one of the 4 emperors. You must be careful on this island alone. Luo En said indifferently. All right, you guys don't worry, go. 4 emperors can't help me. Mutual. Chapter 71 Shake Kaido. Laozi finds him personally. Advertise here. New World. Wanokuni, Ghost Island. Kaido sat on the stone chair, still carrying a jar of wine in his hand. Guru, pour a bottle of wine directly up to the sky. Good wine. Kaido was hooked. Just now, a pirate ran in a panic. Master Kaido, it's already bad. The visitor knelt directly on the ground, panting. What are you doing in a panic? There is Laozi here. What are you afraid of? Kaido said dismissively. He even lifted the wine jar up to the sky and took a sip. The coming person slowed down and answered immediately. Report to Lord Kaido. The mammoth sent a message saying that they had found the location of Luo En. But at this time we lost contact with the mammoth. According to speculation, 467, Master Jack may have encountered an accident. The voice fell. Boom. Kaido abruptly stood up with an extremely ferocious look. What? Jack actually found Luo En, and now he has lost contact. So Jack and the others have been killed by Luo En. The visitor replied with cold sweat on his forehead. Report to Lord Kaido. According to speculation. Should be. Need time. Kaido is already angrily said by thunder. Asshole Luo En. Dare to attack Laozi's subordinates. Laozi must kill you. So he immediately asked, should the mammoth have already sent location information? Tell me the location. Laozi is going to find Luo En personally to settle the account. The visitor immediately told Kaido the location of the uninhabited island. I only saw Kaido immediately incarnate as a blue dragon flying towards the outside. Grand Line. Alabasta. Palace City. Nami and Princess Vivi were holding newspapers together, and they were reading the contents of the newspaper carefully. There was a big headline in the newspaper. Luo En broke into Marine headquarters alone, rescued his apprentice and left. And there are pictures of Luo En in the newspaper. For a while, the two looked at each other with extremely happy expressions. Master Luo En successfully rescued his apprentices. It's really great. The two of them immediately embraced and laughed. Step to step, with the sound of footsteps. Both Nami and Princess Vivi looked over subconsciously. Robin, you are here. Come and see. This is what we often say, Lord Luo En. A tall woman with long black hair walked over. It is Robin. It was Robin who helped Nami learn about Sand Crocodile's plan when he was in the Baroque studio before. It is precisely because of this. Princess Vivi only became acquainted with Robin and already knew each other, and she also took Robin in the palace. Immediately afterwards, Princess Nami and Vivi handed the newspaper to Robin. Robin looked at the photo in the newspaper and couldn't help but joked. Is he the Lord Luoan? So handsome and powerful. No wonder you two are so fascinated. Nami and Princess Vivi looked at each other and their faces flushed. Huh, Robin, if you saw Master Luoan with your own eyes, you will be attracted too. Yes, you will definitely be attracted by Lord Luoan. Both Nami and Princess Vivi replied to each other. Only Robin couldn't help but shook his head and smiled. I don't know when I will see Master Luoan. Master Luoan made such a sensation in Marineford, the world government should be looking for him. I'm afraid we won't be able to see Master Luoan in a short time. Hear what Robin said. A look of loneliness and disappointment flashed in the eyes of Princess Nami and Vivi, but they both knew that Robin was telling the truth. Paused. Princess Vivi comforted. Don't worry. Master Luoan promised us that he would come to pick us up when he settled down in New World. At that time we will be able to meet Lord Luoan. Nami also nodded seriously. Yes, wait for Master Luoan to settle down in New World. He will definitely come to pick us up. Robin looked at the two girls so believing in Lord Luoan in their mouths. At this time he couldn't help but become curious about Luoan in his heart. Master Luoan, it can be so popular with them. I really want to meet this Master Luoan. And just now. Suddenly a palace guard broke in. Princess Lord. Princess Lord. The news of Luoan and his apprentices is coming from the sea again. When they heard the name, Luoan, in the mouth of the guard, Princess Vivi and Nami immediately beamed. Hurry up. Princess Vivi immediately took the newspaper from the guard. Then only saw her look change from joy to consternation. What's wrong? Nami couldn't help but come to take the newspaper. When seeing the content in the newspaper, Nami also covered his mouth and said in shock. Ah, what? Sir Luoan was offered a reward. I just didn't expect the reward amount to be so high. Robin also walked over and looked at the newspaper. Only found a reward order printed in the newspaper. Bounty Hunter Luoan. Bounty. 3 billion Baileys. Whether life or death. The reward order is a picture of Luoan. Gosh, Robin. Sure enough, as you said, Lord Luoan has been wanted. I just didn't expect the amount of reward to be as high as 3 billion. Princess Vivi regained her consciousness and said. Nami also showed a look of consternation. 3 billion Baileys. I saved less than 100 million Baileys when I was in Kokoja village for 8 years. Now Master Luoan directly offers a reward of 3 billion Baileys. It's terrible. Both women looked shocked. Robin analyzed. Master Luoan broke into Marineford alone and saved his apprentices. Know that his apprentices killed celestial dragons. This act of robbing the execution grounds openly provokes the majesty of the world government. 2.6. In my opinion, 3 billion Baileys should be considered more appropriate. Princess Nami and Vivi suddenly appeared worried. The reward is as high as 3 billion. Will Lord Luoan be in danger? And every one of Luoan's apprentices also offered a reward of 1 billion Baileys. The world government has already started targeting them. Robin comforted. Do not worry, since Lord Luoan has the ability to break into Marineford alone. So obviously judging from his strength, I am afraid that there are few strong men on the sea who can pose a threat to him. Hear what Robin said. Nami and Princess Vivi finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, Mr. Luoan is so strong. He must be fine. The two nodded their heads and said firmly. Chapter 72 Dragon's Claw. One move to subdue. Advertise here. New World Hunting Island. Night. Zoro and the others have been away for several days. Luoan built a wooden house in the past few days and also made a wooden bed in the wooden house. Inside the wooden house, Luoan lay leisurely on the wooden bed. Although the environment is a bit crude, at least there is a place to shelter from the wind and rain. I am preparing to punch a card with the system before falling asleep. But at this moment, Luoan couldn't help narrowing his eyes and got up directly from the bed. Crunch. The wooden door opened. Then he shouted towards the distant jungle. Come out. With the sound of the plug chamber. Sure enough, a person came out of the jungle. This person wears a black top hat, a pair of goggles on the hat, and a scar on his left eye. Sabo. Luoan has recognized the identity of the person who came. It is true. The person here was Sabo, the chief of staff of the Revolutionary Army. Mr. Luoan. Hello. My name is Sabo. Sabo walked over to Luoan and bowed and saluted. Speak straight. Don't be polite with me. What can I do if you come to me? Luoan couldn't help asking. Seeing that Luoan asked so readily, Sabo also bluntly answered. Mr. Luoan, our Revolutionary People's Army already knows that you are having trouble with the world government, and even the world government has issued you a wanted order. That's why we came to you specially, hoping to get your help. While talking, Sabo has pulled out 4 reward orders. Luoan accepted the reward order and then joked. Oh. 300.9 billion. I thought it would start at least 5 billion. Sabo explained. Mr. Luo N. 3 billion Baileys is already second only to 4 emperors, bounty. And the 3 billion is a reward for you alone. If you have the same power as the 4 emperors, then your reward should be higher. Heard these words, Luo N couldn't help but laugh jokingly. Have a huge power. Just a few days ago I created a hunter's guild. When my guild grows up, it seems that my bounty should be much higher, right? Luo N has nothing to conceal about the hunter guild he founded a few days ago, and even Luo N can't wait to publicize it. Only in this way can more people come to join the hunter guild. Hunter's guild, Sabo couldn't help but curiously asked. It turns out that Mr. Luo N is planning to establish an organization by himself. Quote. Luo N replied in opposition to the guest. How? Sabo, Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army. Are you interested in joining my guild? But you have to quit your revolutionary army before you can join. The words are full of jokes. Obviously, Sabo's purpose of coming to Luo N specifically should be because the revolutionary army wanted to win him over. Now that Luo N has been wanted by the world government, the Revolutionary People's Army who insists on being the enemy of the world government naturally wants to win Luo N to join. As predicted, Sabo showed an awkward look. Mr. Luo N. I'm really sorry. I came to you specially on this trip to invite you to join the Revolutionary People's Army. Moreover, the Revolutionary People's Army has decades of history and background, and it should have more background than the guild you established. So I thought, what else does Sabo want to say? Luo N interrupted directly. Alright, although the world government is looking for me, it does not mean that I want to join the Revolutionary People's Army. I just want to develop my own guild with peace of mind. So please leave. The chase order was placed directly. But obviously, Luo N has no interest in joining the Revolutionary Army or anything. Mr. Luo N, I am actually. Seeing that Luo N didn't answer, what else Sabo wanted to say? Enough. Luo N shouted impatiently. Sabo, I am not interested in joining any forces. Not to mention, the Revolutionary People's Army is too reckless. It is impossible to defeat the world government with your strength. I heard what Luo N said. Sabo frowned suddenly, and tried his best to refute. Mr. Luo N, you are wrong. We have carefully prepared for decades to overthrow the world government. The Revolutionary People's Army will definitely be able to overthrow the world government. The voice fell. Luo N couldn't help but feel funny. Prepared for decades. With the strength of your Revolutionary People's Army, it may be difficult to deal with Marine, and you are also trying to overthrow the world government. It's too overwhelming. Hear Luo N such words. Sabo was furious at once. Mr. Luo N, please don't insult the efforts made by our Revolutionary People's Army. Under the leadership of Mr. Dorag, our strength is completely sufficient to fight against the world government. I heard Luo N belittle the revolutionary forces in this way. Sabo was already a little angry. Since he joined the Revolutionary Army, he has also been aiming to overthrow the world government. But at this time Luo N actually belittled the Revolutionary People's Army to such worthlessness. It really annoys him. Luo N couldn't help shook his head and smiled. Naive. You are so naive. Just with your strength, do you want to fight the world government? That will undoubtedly only cause more sacrifices. I advise you to leave the Revolutionary People's Army quickly and join my guild as the kingly way. It takes time. Sabo's eyes are already very displeased by way am I. Mr. Luo N, you keep saying that the strength of our Revolutionary People's Army is too weak. For the dignity of the Revolutionary People's Army, as the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary People's Army, I must challenge you. Use this to prove the strength of our Revolutionary People's Army. The voice fell. Luo N shook his head jokingly. Young people really don't know how high the world is. Want to challenge me? At least Dorag must come in person. Although Sabo, as the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, is also the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. But in fact, his strength is too weak. As the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, his strength is not as good as a Marine Admiral. Just relying on such strength is called the overthrow of the world government, which in Luo N's eyes is simply ridiculous. At this time, Sabo was already furious. Immediately jumped up. Keep a distance of about 10 meters from Luo N. Mr. Luo N. Since you look down on the Revolutionary People's Army so much, then let me take the courage to learn about your superb strength, whether it is as strong as the rumors. In fact, Sabo knew that he was definitely not Luo N's opponent. But Luo N said at this time that the Revolutionary Army was too weak. In order to maintain the dignity of the Revolutionary People's Army, Sabo, the second in command of the Revolutionary People's Army, must take action at this time. The voice fell. Sabo suddenly narrowed his eyes. Armament Hawkeye instantly covered the Dragon Claw fist. Dragon Claw. I saw that the index and middle fingers of his right hand were bent and brought together, and the distance between the ring finger and the middle finger was separated. The ring and little fingers were bent together, and the thumb was slightly bent. It looks like Sabo's right hand looks like a three-finger Dragon Claw. When facing Luo N, Sabo didn't dare to leave the slightest hand, and directly used the Dragon Claw fist that he was best at. See this scene. Luo N still bears his hands on his back and looks indifferent. Mr. Luo N, ignore me so much. You are too arrogant. See, Luo N didn't put up a fighting posture at all. Sabo just felt insulted, immediately jumped up. Take it. The dragon's claw on the right hand hit Luo N directly. In the original work, with this trick, Sabo directly defeated the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates, the fighting champion Badgers. But at this time, the person Sabo faces is Luo N. Saw Sabo's dragon claws attacking him. Luo N still stood in place without being surprised. What? Sabo roared abruptly while standing in the air, and the power of the dragon's claw seemed to increase a bit. Just when the dragon's claw was only about 10 centimeters away from Luo N. Luo N suddenly lifted his right hand, and pointed directly at Sabo's dragon claw. 467 saw it. Luo N's big hand directly restrained Sabo's wrist, and no matter how hard Sabo tried, he couldn't get rid of Luo N's big hand at all. It's as if it's being firmly clamped by big iron tongs. What a powerful force. Sabo was shocked, and Luo N stood still in place from beginning to end. Sabo was subdued with just one move, which Sabo hadn't expected at all. How will you continue? The second in command of the Revolutionary Army. Luo N looked at Sabo playfully. I lost. Sabo had to bow his head and admit defeat. Because he felt that if he dared to resist again, Luo N might break his arm instantly. Luo N then let go of his wrist. Just one move. Sabo knew the huge gap between him and Luo N. The Dragon Claw Fist, which he is best at, has no effect in front of Luo N. Completely defeated. The strength gap between him and Luo N is indeed too great. Go back and tell Dorag. If you want to control the world government through your own influence, only joining my guild is the wisest choice. You can go now. Luo N has no intention of killing Sabo, and there is no need to kill Sabo. That's why I said so. Mr. Luo N. Sabo wants to say something else. Luo N said coldly, I don't want to say it a second time. Just tell Dorag what I have said. There is nothing else you should consider. These words are categorical, so Sabo couldn't even interrupt. Sabo rubbed his wrist, sighed, and turned away. Yes, Sabo is the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. But even the second in command, with his strength, was subdued by Luo N, and he had no resistance at all. No doubt, the strength of the Revolutionary People's Army is indeed not strong enough. Want to overthrow the world government with 800 years of history? It's a foolish dream. Chapter 73 New System Rewards. Giants and Blue Dragons in the Sky. Advertise here. After seeing Sabo turn around and leave, Luo N turned around and entered the cabin. He lay on the bed and was about to punch his card. Open the properties panel. With a silent voice in my heart. Open black lens bracket host. Luo N close black lens bracket. Age. 24 years old. Physique. 19,980. Open black lens bracket weapon. Ryujin Jaka close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket pupil. Rinnegan close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket swordsmanship. Pinnacle close black lens bracket. Physique. Pinnacle. Conqueror's hockey. Peak. Armament hockey. Pinnacle. Observation hockey. Peak. Open black lens bracket fruit. None close black lens bracket. Immediately afterwards. Inwardly, he continued silently saying, the system clocks in. Congratulations to host for successfully clocking in. Get 20 physique points. Current physique. 20,000. Because the physique has reached 20,000 points, open the Reiatsu attribute panel and open the Reiatsu check in rewards. Current Reiatsu. 100. Reward host Reiatsu increased to 1,000 points. When I heard the news in my mind, even Luo N was overjoyed in an instant. Finally improved. My Reiatsu has finally improved. And it's more than 10 times. Originally Luo N's Reiatsu had always only had 100 points, and the system had never rewarded Reiatsu points. But today, when Luo N's physique point reached 20,000, the system's Reiatsu point reward was finally activated. You should know that Reiatsu is a unique ability in Shinigami anime, and it cannot be improved through practice in this world. These 3 years. Because Luo N's Reiatsu only has 100 points, and it hasn't been improved anyway. Therefore, he can only use Ryujin Jaka's Shikai ability, but cannot use Ryujin Jaka's Benkai ability. In fact, it can be recalled. In the past month Luo N has fought against the strong, he has never used Benkai's abilities, and at best he has only performed Shikai. It's because Luo N's Reiatsu is too low. Now, Luo N finally raised Reiatsu to 1,000 points, and the attributes of Reiatsu also appeared on the character attribute panel. How can this not make Luo N excited? It turns out that when your physique reaches 20,000, you can unlock Reiatsu's punch card, which is great. Luo N muttered to himself. His eyes were filled with excitement. There is no doubt that the increase in Reiatsu points to 1,000 now must be a huge increase in Luo N's strength. Today, Luo N is completely confident and can display Ryujin Jaka's Benkai ability. Open the system panel again. Open black lens bracket host. Luo N close black lens bracket. Age. 24 years old. Open black lens bracket physique. 20,000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Reiatsu. 1,000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket weapon. Ryujin Jaka close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket pupil. Rinnegan close black lens bracket. Swordsmanship. Pinnacle. Physique. Pinnacle. Conqueror's Haki. The peak. Open black lens bracket armament Haki. The peak close black lens bracket. Observation Haki. Peak. Open black lens bracket fruit. None close black lens bracket. Sure enough, a Reiatsu column appeared in the character attribute panel. And Reiatsu has reached 1000 points. P.S. The setting in this book is that the higher the Reiatsu, the stronger the ability of Zanpakuto, and the higher the Reiatsu, the more capable Zanpakuto can be. In the moment of excitement, Luo-en suddenly wrinkled slightly. Because under his observation Haki, he actually sensed that a behemoth was flying towards his own island. It's finally here. Luo-en don't need to guess to know. One of the beasts Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, can be transformed into such a giant flying in the sky. At the same time, Sabo, who was about to leave, also subconsciously looked towards the night sky. Because it is night now. But looking into the sky while taking advantage of the moonlight, only the clouds in the night sky started to move irregularly. Suddenly, boom, there was sudden thunder in the sky, and there were gusts of wind, and there seemed to be giants in the sky with lightning and thunder. This sudden change in the sky, even Sabo couldn't help frowning. Then suddenly, but when he saw Sabo's eyes widened, he was so shocked that even Sabo, the chief of staff of the Revolutionary Army, was so shocked. Because at this time, among the clouds in the sky, under the moonlight, a giant figure appeared unexpectedly. This behemoth is the body of an antlered snake, swimming like a snake in the sky, and even its feet are still stepping on a burning flame cloud, as if it is the flame cloud supporting its huge body. Dragon! Dragon! Sabo shouted in shock. At the same time, he recognized the identity of this behemoth. As one of the 4 emperors Kaido, he actually came to this uninhabited island. So he also specifically looked for Luo-en. Night sky. Kaido has turned into a blue dragon flying in the clouds, and finally arrived tonight on the uninhabited island where Luo-en is. Beast Kaido. Kaido, who claims to have an immortal body, is known as the strongest creature in sea, land, and air. Kaido is the strongest heads up. This is the most widely circulated sentence in New World, and it is enough to show how terrifying Kaido's single-handed ability is. Kaido has suffered 7 defeats. He was arrested 18 times when he challenged Marine and 4 emperors alone. He was even tortured more than 1,000 times and was sentenced to death 40 times. However, even if he was hanged, the chain would be broken, even if he was put on a guillotine, he could shatter the guillotine, and even if he was stabbed by a spear, he would end up with the spear breaking. No one has been able to kill him so far. It is precisely because of this powerful body that is known as the immortal body that Kaido is so arrogant, even he is always crying but begging for death. And today, Kaido finally came to the island where Luo-en was. He wanted to avenge his subordinate Jack. A blue dragon hovered in the night sky, the sky was lightning and thunder, and he could faintly see his huge body like a hill. What a terrifying coercion. Just seeing this behemoth makes people feel shocked. 4 emperors have a stronger sense of oppression than Marine Admiral. What's more, it's still Kaido, the strongest beast. Sabo was already full of consternation. Although he had heard that one of the 4 emperors was extremely powerful, the blue dragon that appeared in the sky now was too magnificent. It made him feel extremely shocked. At this time, the blue dragon hovered in the night sky, and there was even a flame cloud under his feet, and a wave of dragon might envelop the entire island. Booming. The night sky was still shining with endless thunder, and the gust of wind seemed to be blowing unstoppable. Finally, I only heard the words from the dragon's mouth. Carrot bastard Luo-en. You killed Laozi's men. Get out and die. As predicted, as Sabo expected, Kaido came to this uninhabited island specially, his purpose is to come to Luo-en. Luo-en killed Kaido's men. No wonder Kaido appears on this island. I don't know how Luo-en will deal with such a monster. Sabo murmured to himself with lingering fear. Need time. Boom. But I heard a loud noise coming from the uninhabited island. Then Luo-en's voice spread from the ground to the sky. Kaido, I have been waiting for you for a long time. At the same time, however, from the uninhabited island, a huge blue-purple giant suddenly flew out, flying into the sky in just a few breaths. Sabo looked up at the blue-violet giant, his eyes filled with consternation again. This is Luo-en. Sure enough, it's like a photo in a newspaper. Luo-en can turn into a giant and fly. Is this the power of devil fruit? At this time, Luo-en transformed into Susanoo already flying into the night sky. Booming, accompanied by bursts of thunder. The light of thunder shining on Susanoo and Qinglong, Wang Zhao can vaguely see that the two sides are already facing each other in the sky. An extremely powerful sense of oppression was passed down from these two giants in the sky, and even Sabo couldn't help but sweat coldly on his forehead at this time. To know, Sabo is the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. At this time, feeling the aura of Luo-en and Kaido, he was already scared to the cold sweat on his forehead. It is enough to see how terrifying the coercion of these two people is. What a strong momentum. These two people, do not. These are two monsters. I am not at the same level as them. At this time, Sabo has fully realized how foolish he was to challenge Luo-en before. No wonder I was subdued by Luo En with just one move, and there was no hierarchy between the two of them. At least the level of 4 emperors or admiral would dare to provoke Luo En. Sabo now only feels that he is very ignorant and stupid, and even feels extremely ashamed. It is true. In front of Luo En and Kaido, a role like Sabo is probably solved with one move. But before Sabo even dared to challenge Luo En, he naturally knew his ignorance and stupidity. Chapter 74 Kaido was crushed and beaten. Advertise here. At this time, the night sky of an uninhabited island. Booming. The endless thunder light flickered. Susanoo played by Luo En and the blue dragon incarnation of Kaido in the sky. The two giants are suspended in the sky and stand opposite each other. Thunder light sometimes shines on the two of them, showing their figures in the night sky. Sabo was already silent. He only dared to look up at the two people in the sky, and he didn't even dare to make any noise. Night sky. In fact, when Kaido saw Luo En turned into a giant and flew into the sky. A look of surprise flashed in the large lantern eyes on the Qinglong's head, and then he returned to normal. The two of them stared at each other in the night sky, and their auras gradually improved. Finally, Kaido was the first to move. I only saw that the huge eyes showed a sullen color, and then used your majestic voice to rebuke. Finally got out. Bounty hunter Luo En, you have provoked people who shouldn't be provoked. Now let Laozi die. The so-called is that the strong meet first to fight. When he saw Luo En transformed into Susanoo, Kaido was a little surprised that Luo En could fly, but he immediately attacked without saying a word. Dragon's breath. But watching Qinglong's big mouth opened, a burst of heat suddenly spewed out. In the original work, the heat that this blue dragon spit out can instantly evaporate a mountain top, which is enough to see the power of this trick. However, Luo En watched the heat attack him. I saw that Susanoo was holding an energy sword. The pinnacle of armed color domineering 470 has been wrapped around the energy sword. And under the control of Luo En, Susanoo slashed directly at the heat. Zzz. I only saw that the heat was split into two halves by the energy knife. With the heat disappeared, Susanoo fluttered his wings and flew towards the blue dragon with the energy knife directly in his hand. Shenlong wagging its tail. I saw Qinglong's tail swept across directly and slammed into Susanoo. This wagging tail was accompanied by the power of thunder and lightning. However, Susanoo immediately held the energy knife in a horizontal position. Boom. There seemed to be a thunder in the sky. The blue-violet giant and the blue dragon incarnation of Kaido went straight back hundreds of meters. It's not over yet. Qinglong opened the dragon's mouth again and spit out towards Luo En. Bad wind. I only saw a large number of wind blades spit out from Qinglong's mouth and cut towards Susanoo. Each wind blade was like a slash of a sickle and it was enough to easily cut the boulder. Layly. Countless wind blades quickly split towards Susanoo. Luo En has a slight look in his eyes. Show ultimate armament Hawkeye directly again, and cover Susanoo's energy body. I only saw that Susanoo's body was wrapped in black Hawkeye. Let the wind blade split it, but it couldn't hurt Luo En who was wrapped in Susanoo at all. A trace of doubt flashed in the eyes of the lantern AJCG. Kaido unexpectedly did not expect that his wind blade attack would be ineffective against Luo En. Immediately twisting the sturdy body, he slammed into Luo En again. What? Above the double dragon horns on his head, there is already an extremely powerful armament Hawkeye. Go to hell. Seeing the huge body hit it, Susanoo stretched out his left hand, and a shield turned into energy appeared on his left hand. Boom. The huge dragon horn hit the shield, and a huge air current was suddenly set off, which swept out towards the surroundings. Hoo. Suddenly, there was a violent wind in the sky and thunderous sounds were heard. Booming. Thunder and lightning flashed in the dark clouds, and the gust of wind became more raging, and even the sky began to rain. Rumbling. With the flickering of thunder. I could see two giants in the sky fighting against each other, a blue-purple giant with wings on their backs and a blue dragon. And every attack between these two behemoths will arouse a huge wave of air in the sky. It was even accompanied by a thunderous sound. At this time, I saw a dragon of Qinglong swinging its tail towards Susanoo, and Susanoo held a shield to directly block it. Then the energy sword in his hand was instantly covered with a layer of armament Hawkeye, and it immediately slashed towards Qinglong's body. However, Kaido immediately displayed the ultimate armament Hawkeye and covered him. Boom. What? Qinglong let out a painful roar, and a bloodstain appeared on that torso in an instant. Blood spattered. Roar. Qinglong roared, temporarily separated from Luo En 100 meters away, and urging the body's recovery, is quickly recovering from the injury on the torso. At this time, it can be seen that the bloodstain has stopped bleeding, and even the wound has healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. What a strong resilience. No wonder it is known as the immortal body. Even Luo En couldn't help but wrinkle in his eyes and sighed in his heart. But even though the wound had healed, there was still a scar on the torso that could not be recovered. This is the power of the pinnacle armament Hawkeye. Even if Kaido can recover from his injury, he can still leave scars. Asshole. Turning his head and looking at the scar on his body, he couldn't help but be furious. Thunder. Kaido opened his mouth. Need time. Thunder began to roar in the dark clouds. Rumbling. The endless roaring sound seemed to tear the air away. Only at this time Kaido's body was circling up, and then it made a circular motion like a spinning top. Tornado bad wind. Words fall. A huge gust of wind started from around Kaido's body, and the gust of wind hit Luo-en like a sharp blade. Whirring whirring. The tornado whirlwind spins like a sharp blade and cuts towards Luo-en. Susanoo first wiped out the shield in his left hand, and then turned into an energy sword in his left hand. Holding a big sword in each hand. Susanoo dance of two swords. It takes time. Just watching the blue-violet giant fluttered its wings and slashed directly towards the tornado, even the huge body rushed over. The tornado has swept across. Susanoo rushed with two big knives in his hands. I saw that Susanoo had rushed into the tornado, and then slashed with two knives. The tornado stopped abruptly. Boom. The tornado levitation dissipated directly out of thin air. But that Susanoo had already broken through the tornado, and held up two large energy swords and slashed towards the blue dragon again. Susanoo two swords two slash flash. What? Only saw Susanoo's body flash by. Suddenly, two pillars of blood have soared into the sky. Wow. The blue dragon that Kaido transformed into in the sky resounded again with a mournful cry, and two pillars of blood gush out directly. Puff. Kaido's dragon spurted blood out of his mouth. Asshole. A pair of large lantern eyes were staring at Luo-en, even gasping for breath. On the uninhabited island, Sabo looked at this scene in the sky. At this time, it seemed to be shockingly scared. Kaido's body has suffered 3 wounds. Every slash of that guy Luo-en can injure Kaido, but Kaido's attack will be resolved by Luo-en. Kaido, who claims to be the strongest singled out in the world, was hit by Luo-en at this time. Sabo couldn't believe his eyes now. Although he had heard that Luo-en was powerful, he didn't expect it to be so powerful. The opponent is Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, and the pirate with the highest bounty that has been alive. Because Whitebeard had already died in the war at the top. Therefore, among the pirates alive today, Kaido, the beast with a total of 4.611.1 million Baileys, has become the pirate with the highest bounty in the world. It is enough to show the importance that marine and world government attach to him, and it is also enough to prove that Kaido is extremely powerful. However, it is such a person who claims to be invincible one-on-one. At this time, Luo-en was unilaterally pressed and beaten, and was already at a disadvantage in the battle in the sky. Chapter 75 Conqueror's Entanglement. The sky is about to split. Advertise here. But I have to say. After all, it is a person with the ability of Qinglong fruit, Kaido's resilience is not covered, just a few breaths. The pillar of blood that soared to the sky actually stopped gushing, and the wound was still healing, but even if the wound healed, it left 2 scars. With the addition of the knife cut by Luo-en, Kaido now has 3 more scars on his body. What? Luo-en. Kaido was already roaring with anger. Originally, there were only 2 scars on his body, which were chopped off by Kazuki Oden many years ago. But today, when Kaido faced Luo-en, there were 3 more scars on his body. Luo-en can be said to be the only man besides Kazuki Oden who has left a scar on him again. Damn it. Bounty Hunter Luo-en, Laozi must kill you. Kaido has also discovered that the volume in the Azure Dragon form is too large to perform too many moves, and it is easy to be used by Luo-en as a living assistant. He immediately rushed towards Luo-en again. Although he was in the sky, he could see Kaido's body began to shrink and change, and then turned into a human form holding a mace and rushed directly towards Luo-en. Luo-en suddenly narrowed his eyes. First, he fluttered his wings and rushed towards Kaido quickly, and in the process of rushing away, he lifted Susanoo and revealed his real person. Thunder 8 trigrams. The Kaido mace in human form is filled with purple lightning, and the mace is also wrapped around Conqueror's Haki. Good. Conqueror's Haki has been entwined with this thunderous 8 trigrams. In the original work, Kaido used this trick to knock Luffy out of the 4th gear with just 1 stick, which is enough to show the power of this trick. Luo-en is also holding Ryujin Jaka, and the peak Conqueror's Haki is directly covered on the blade. Certainly, Luo-en, who has already mastered the pinnacle of Conqueror's Haki, is naturally able to use Conqueror's Haki's entanglement. Bring it on, Kaido. And this is also the first time Luo-en entangled Conqueror's Haki to attack. Only see the sky. Kaido held a mace and hammered towards Luo-en, and Luo-en also held Ryujin Jaka in both hands and slashed. Boom. Red lightning suddenly appeared in the sky. Even the dark clouds in the night sky quickly separated towards the 2 sides, revealing the moon high in the sky. Boom. The 2 weapons collided in the air in an X shape. Zzz. With the endless thunder light suddenly began. Boom. There was a loud noise in the sky again. An incomparably vast air current swept away in the sky instantly, and the endless air current began to tear the air. And the next moment, the figures of the 2 were separated by hundreds of meters, and then they landed on the uninhabited island below. But the original dark clouds in the sky seemed to be shattered by the aura of the 2, revealing the moon that hung high. Boom boom. The figures of Luo-en and Kaido fell directly on the ground, still hundreds of meters apart, so their eyes faced each other. Under this moonlight, both of them stood proudly on the ground. Even my thunderous 8 trigrams. Kaido looked at Luo-en faintly. The thunderous 8 trigrams displayed by others were also blocked by Luo-en. To know the original work, Luffy, the Straw Hat who offered a reward of 1.5 billion Bailey as the protagonist, was knocked into prison by Kaido because he didn't catch the thunderous 8 trigrams. But obviously, now Kaido is facing Luo-en. Even if Kaido used the strongest human form of thunder, 8 trigrams, he was also resisted by Luo-en, because both of them entangled Conqueror's Haki with this move. It looks evenly matched. Sure. Sabo looked at the sky. The pupils in his eyes shrank suddenly, and he was obviously frightened. Just now, Luo-en and Kaido in the form of a human fought each other in the sky, and even the sky seemed to split apart. Even the dark clouds have receded directly, except for the bright moon in the sky. Such a huge momentum. Sabo's heart was already extremely astonished. Is this the strength of the strongest bounty hunter Luo-en? There is such a strong aura, as if even the sky is about to split. Is this power Conqueror's Haki? The center of the island. Luo-en and Kaido stand opposite each other. Although Kaido's body is nearly 10 meters tall, Luo-en has not been defeated in the slightest from the aura. But at this time, Kaido's complexion is a bit ugly. Because he had 3 new scars on his waist and abdomen, which were just cut by Luo-en in the form of a blue dragon in the sky. Finally, Kaido was the first to speak. As a bounty hunter, you also have Conqueror's Haki. And you can even use Conqueror's Haki. It seems, Jack is not unjustly defeated by your hands. Kaido frowned. He and Luo-en both played Conqueror's Haki when they were in the sky just now. However, the thunderous 8 trigrams that entangled Conqueror's Haki did not hit Luo-en directly. And Kaido can see it too. It was precisely because Luo-en also used Conqueror's Haki's entanglement that he was able to withstand the blow of Thunder 8 trigrams. 0. Look for flowers. Even under the collision of the 2 Conqueror's Haki, even the sky seemed to split apart, and the dark clouds had been dispersed, leaving only the bright moon. However, hear what Kaido said. Luo-en joked disapprovingly. No, Kaido, you were wrong. Jack is not defeated by me. Heard these words, Kaido seemed to think of something and couldn't help but frown. What do you mean? Is Jack killed by your apprentices? No, this is impossible. Luo-en shook his head and still joked. Jack the Drow was indeed killed by my apprentices. A guy like him, it's not worth my hands. The voice fell. Kaido's face instantly darkened. Your apprentice. It's just your apprentice. They can actually kill one of my 3 plagues. He still couldn't believe it. But at this time it is meaningless to find out who killed Jack in the end. Therefore, Kaido frowned and said solemnly. Luo-en. I don't care who killed Jack, but this matter must have something to do with you. Moreover, you have cut 3 scars on my body today. This is a shame for Laozi. You must die for Laozi. A trace of hideousness flashed across his face, and then his hands raised his mace. Hakoku. With the voice falling, the mace also slammed towards Luo-en. Suddenly a huge and rapid shock wave slammed towards Luo-en. Boom boom boom. The shock wave directly drew an extremely deep gully on the ground. The power of this shock wave is enormous. Luo-en's eyes condensed, and he swung a knife with Ryujin Jaka in his hand. What? The same as a huge slash wave rushing towards Kaido. Need time. The shock wave and slash wave collide. Boom. There was a thunderstorm like a bolt from a blue sky, and an extremely violent air current turned into a violent wind and swept out all around. Hoo. The trees in the surrounding dense forest were all uprooted, and the endless wind raged towards the surroundings. Sabo was watching the battle in the dense forest in the distance, but even he was almost blown away by this violent air current. These two are so strong. Just the aftermath of the battle is so powerful. I'm afraid this dense forest will be razed to the ground by them. I am not at the same level as them. Sabo exclaimed. Deficit.